We welcome those of you that have been watching Texas and Nebraska. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, and Aaron Andrews from the Big House in Michigan. That's the first snap of the ball game. This ESPN presentation of college football on ABC is brought to you by Best Buy. It's a number 2 ranked Wolverines of Michigan, perfect at 7-0. The Hawkeyes appear to be their biggest road bump on their way to Columbus on November 18th. And Kirk Ferentz' team comes in 5-2, coming off a disappointing setback to Indiana last week. Lloyd Carr's got this team rolling as well as it's been, he says, since '97 when they won the national title. This is Iowa's first possession. Second down, and a throw by Drew Tate out complete to Dominique Douglas, and he's got a first down. Let's take a look at our IBM Star Watch for Iowa. A guy to watch today is number 87. He's a wide receiver type tight end. Scott Chandler, the number 1 receiver on this team and the main target for Drew Tate. And defensively, Mike Klinkenborg is a number 2 tackler in the Big Ten. 73 stops. He anchors that back 11 for the Iowa Hawkeyes. So Iowa's got a first down now at the 31-yard line. Just opening up here in the first minute. Damian Sims is the tailback, and he gets the call, and Sims leveled at the line of scrimmage, might have lost a yard. Terrence Taylor made the stop defensively. Drew Tate, the Texas gunslinger out of Baytown, Texas, a junior who's been a starter pretty much all the way through his Iowa career. His numbers, almost 1,500 yards, 11 touchdowns, 247 yards per ball game. Bobby's a good one.
He is. He's making his 32nd start here today against Michigan. His career numbers are 60% completions, 54 touchdowns, and only 27 interceptions.
Second down and a full 10 from the 30. Blitz might come off the corner for Michigan. It does. And it's Sims going nowhere. Let's take a look at the city starting lineup offensively for Iowa. They've really had to shift personnel around due to injuries on their front wall. Their one constant on the offensive line is Mike Jones at left guard. Albert Young is going to be back in there today at times. Dominique Douglas was also hurt in the Indiana game, but you saw he already has a catch here today. Albert Young, kind of the heart and soul of their team, much like Mike Hart is for Michigan. And they want to get him back in the lineup. He's missed the last 2 games. It's a 3rd down and 10. Champ Davis checks in, the fullback. And Drew Tate's hearing the noise at the Big House right now.
Michigan goes to a 3-man line, but look out for Crable on the end.
Tate had it batted at the line of scrimmage, incomplete. And so Iowa gets 1 first down, and now they're forced to punt. Rondell Biggs is the guy that got a hand on it defensively for Michigan. Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator, meets Tate at the sideline, and you see those big defensive end, Biggs and Woodley, coming after the quarterback, and Biggs got his hand on it. Andy Fengstermaker is the punter, and that is Steve Breston. He's a dangerous return man if he can get his hands on one. This is high in the air, though. He'll have to call for a fair catch, and he'll take it at about the 33-yard line. 37-yard kick and no return. We'll return and watch the Michigan offense go to work for the first time today, led by Chad Henne. We'll be right back.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
This ESPN production's available on ABC HD, presented by Dish Network. So Iowa got 1 first down, had to punt. Now Michigan, good field position to start. The Wolverines will work from their own 33-yard line with Chad Henne, number 7, at the controls. A junior and a while missing Pennsylvania. Handoff, Mike Hart, left side, and Hart to about the 36, almost the 37, got almost 4 yards. Let's take a look at our IBM Star Watch for Michigan. Not a lot of times we get a star that's an offensive lineman, but he's one of the best there is around. The captain, Outland Lombardi candidate Jake Long, 6'7", 313 pounds. Steve Breston, we've seen him field a punt. He hasn't scored a touchdown as a receiver yet. That might change today. And David Harris made the semifinalist list for the Butkus Award. He's a leading tackler defensively for the Wolverines of Michigan. 2nd down and 6. Adrian Arrington in motion toward the ball. Here's the stretch play again to Hart, and I was waiting on it. Very little on the play, no gain. Chad Henne, he started every game too since he's been in Ann Arbor, and he's done a lot for this team, and he expects to do a lot on the opening drive.
Well, we're definitely going to try to establish a run, and hopefully Coach DeBoer will give me opportunities to throw the ball. But definitely be accurate, complete the passes, and just take care of the ball. Don't make any dumb mistakes. Just go out there and play my game.
Making his 32nd consecutive start for the University of Michigan.
And already faces a 3rd and 6. Here comes a blitz. Henne going to be dragged down right about at the line of scrimmage. A.J. Eads, a freshman who was in there defensively, got the stop. Pickup of about a yard, and Michigan's got to give it up.
Well, you know, this young freshman, Eads, he's a guy we saw play like that last week, where he just didn't quit. He came upfield, he was blocked, and then he broke out, looked like he could pick up the first down, but he's never quit on the play, made the tackle.
Masco to punts. Dominic Douglas shading his eyes to the sun on the other end, back at about the 15-yard line.
That's a nice phrase.
Boy, bobbled snap, but he got rid of it. Douglas at the 16. Dominic Douglas doing a little dance. We weren't even sure whether or not he was going to be able to play, but he has a nice return of 8 yards.
We wasn't sure whether we'd have any sunshine today.
That's true. We got a little bit of both. There was no sunshine last week for the Iowa Hawkeyes. The Indiana Hoosiers, 3 touchdown passes, and a couple of them wide open, and Drew Tate intercepted at the end of the ball game. That wrapped up a disappointing setback to Indiana. Good for the Hoosiers. They're back-to-back wins in the Big Ten, but for the Hawkeyes, who had hoped to come in here no worse than 6-1 and in the top 25, and instead they're 5-2 and 2-2 in the conference. They're a dangerous team when healthy, though. There's a little slip screen out to Douglas, and Douglas got about 5 out near the 30-yard line. Let's take a look at the city defense for the Michigan Wolverines. Front 7 maybe as good as there is in college football, and it's led by Woodley, Taylor, Branch, and Biggs. Those 4 guys have competition about who can make the most tackles, who can get the most sacks. They're a pretty deadly crew up there up front.
Maybe the best defensive line in the country. I think it is.
2nd down and 4, just inside the 30. Tate, quick throw on the slant, and he got it. Good throw out to the 40-yard line. Dominic Douglas putting on a show already here in the first quarter. Pickup of 10. Let's check in. Aaron Andrews in for Bonnie Bernstein this week. Aaron.
Brad, you mentioned the health of this Iowa team. How about last week? 8 players either missed the game or did not return to action because of injuries. Kirk Ferentz definitely telling me happy to have Albert Young back today. Hasn't been in yet, but we'll see how effective he is with that ankle. For their defense, defensive lineman, guys, Mitch King, we got to keep an eye on him. 50-50 today with a hamstring.
All right, EA, good to have you with us. Bonnie, we hope you're feeling better, too, and hope to have you back next week. Dominic Douglas. I don't know, he looks like Dominic Wilkins so far in the first quarter. He's got the human highlight film thing going on. Tate really took a shot, but he got the ball complete down, and it's at the 41 of Michigan.
Brad, I don't know what Dominic Douglas got last week, but he ought to get it every week. I mean, here's a guy that was not even 50-50, was questionable being in the game, and he's caught everything they've thrown near him. Watch this throw. Oh, man, does Tate get whacked? That was David Harris.
Not enough men on line of scrimmage. Offense. 5 yards. Repeat first down.
Dave Whitboat, I apologize. I did not see the flag. It's way over on the far side of the field at about the 36-yard line, so that one's coming back. Harris, the leading tackler for Michigan. I mentioned he made the semifinalist list for the Butkus Award. 19th straight start for him, 20th start overall. A Michigan defense gives up virtually nothing. 33 yards per game on the ground, or as Paul would like to say, 32.6. It's 1.4 yards a carry is what it is if you want to get it down to that.
And Paul wasn't very good at math. You got to round it up.
Yeah.
If it's 0.5 or higher, you round it up.
Round it down.
That's a math work at the Citadel for you. 1st and 15. Nice play fake. Tate got a man open. Tough throw. Got it out to about the 39 to Moyaki, the number 2 tight end.
You know, Brad, when you talk about this defense, the other thing that has to be mentioned, they have 25 sacks going into this game. And 17 of them are done by the defensive line. 15 of them are done by the 3 defensive ends. I mean, that's incredible, including that guy.
The other thing about that defense is they're physical. I mean, the first 5, 6, 7 plays of the ball game, they are really hitting this Iowa offense.
2nd down and 11. Ball just inside the 39. Tate, quick slant again. Douglas bobbled it incomplete. And, you know, we saw Tate take that shot on that previous pass to Douglas. And we talked with Lamar Woodley, who's one of the leaders and the captain of the defense, about that very thing, putting the heat on number 5.
You want to go out there and you want to kind of try to put a little pressure on him early, you know, to see where he's at a little bit. And sometimes you get a quarterback a little shaky when the defense line is coming. That's one thing we're going to try to do.
Now, one thing, Tate's not the biggest guy, but he's one of the toughest cookies in the jar, I'll tell you that much.
There's no doubt about that.
He's in the shotgun on 3rd down and 11.
Here they come.
Here they come. Throw, almost one-handed, but not turning around in time, was Andy Brodell, and it's incomplete. No score here. Let's get an update from Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
Brad, a Taco Bell update from Evanston. Michigan State staring 5 straight losses in the face, trailing 38-3, but executes the biggest comeback in Division 1A history. 38 unanswered. Drew Stanton and T.J. Williams there. That tied it. Spartans won it with a field goal. Ohio State rolled at home. Troy Smith 4-touchdown passes. Penn State came back to beat Illinois.
All right, Matt. Thanks to Maker to punt. Breaston on the other end has 3 career punt return touchdowns. He's going to lose yardage on this one. Great coverage by the special teams for Iowa, and Miguel Merrick got down there to make the stop. No score at the Big House. Michigan on offense when we return.
You're watching ESPN on ABC. ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by Chevrolet, America's brand. Chevy, an American revolution. Allstate, are you in good hands? And Taco Bell, think outside the bun.
That's the M-Den, most popular apparel and souvenir store on campus. Hardest to find item right now is at 86. Mario Manningham, who is out after arthroscopic knee surgery. Could be back as soon as next week. He's their big play guy. 9 touchdowns on the season, but Adrian Arrington is starting to come on. Number 16, we'll see him before the day's done, filling in that spot. Here's Mike Hart. I'm sure there's a lot of number 20 jerseys around as well. Hart got about a yard, and that's it. Let's take a look at the city starting lineup for Iowa. The aforementioned Adrian Arrington, who's putting touchdowns together over the course of the last couple of weeks as a fill-in for Mario Manningham and really coming into his own. The only Iowa native on the Michigan team. And when you got Mike Hart, you got a pretty good running back. He was injured last year, didn't play in this game. Number 20 is one of the best around, and he's closing in on a 1,000-yard season again. He needed 94 coming into today to reach that magical number again. 2nd down and 10. Play fake to Hart, and Henne comes up strolling out, complete to about the 38-yard line to Steve Breaston, who took a big shot from Adam Shada back there. Defensively for Iowa, they've had a lot of changes due to injuries. Alex Canellis is in because, as Aaron told us, Kenny Owebama did not make the trip. Madison, a good defensive end on the other side, and Shada, who just made that hit, is the leading interceptor for Iowa. He's got 3 on the year, including one he took for a touchdown against Purdue.
And Mitch King, the defensive tackle, who is an outstanding player, did not start the ball game, although we are told he is available.
Hart. Boy, Iowa's defense isn't giving up anything. I don't care how banged up they might be. They're not letting Mike Hart out of their sights. And Canellis, the guy I just mentioned, helped on the stop, and it's 4th down Michigan.
And old number 40. This is a guy I think you're going to call his name probably about 20 times in this ball game. Klinkenborg, number 40. Mike, he's a middle linebacker, and this guy makes so many tackles. It's incredible. He leads the Big Ten, as you said before.
Mike down to 89 yards, but virtually nothing there, and another Michigan 3 and out. So Mesko will kick almost the same spot on the field as the last punt. And he got all of this baby. Douglas way back at the 6. Dominique Douglas trying to get to the corner, and did. Nice return by Douglas out to the 24-yard line. So a 19-yard return after a 57-yard punt. Drew Tate, he's the guy that's going to have a big game for the Iowa Hawkeyes if they're to pull off a stunner here in Ann Arbor today. He's on deck.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Well, a game of punts so far for Iowa and Michigan. Iowa now at the 24-yard line. 2nd straight time they've started in the same spot. Grigsby in a motion to the slot on the left side. Tate on play action was looking that way, and now in trouble. Somehow got away from 3 would-be tacklers, and then he took a shot as he got out of bounds with a pickup of about 4. Let's break down the game, fellas.
Well, for Iowa, it's a chance for redemption. Last week's loss to Iowa was a real stunner, and for Michigan, beware of the trap. This Iowa team is not going to play as bad as they did last week against Indiana.
And for Iowa, stay out of 3rd and long. They have had 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. They've got to stay out of that. And when I'm talking about don't shut it down, Michigan, when they have a tendency to get ahead in the ball game, the 3rd and 4th quarter, they kind of lay on the ball. They can't do that. Just keep pouring it on if you can.
2nd down and long here. 2nd and 6. Flair out of the backfield to Sims. Michigan's waiting on it. Nice play by Dave Harris. 2nd time he's made a big stop. The middle linebacker, number 45. Tonight, ESPN's got a dandy for you. Division leaders in the ACC will have at it. Calvin Johnson and Georgia Tech look to remain perfect in ACC play. They'll visit Death Valley and take on the Clemson Tigers and an Atlanta native, James Davis. College football primetime on ESPN, 7:45 Eastern. Those games available on high definition. Call your cable operator or satellite provider today. 3rd down and 5. Here comes a blitz off the corner. The throw complete. Nice catch and a good throw, Andy Brodell. And Tate put it right on the money there. So Drew Tate, that's his first big completion to kind of get Iowa a little bit of room to work in front of 110,000 plus at Michigan Stadium in Ann Arbor. No score, vital game in the Big Ten. Michigan, if they can get by Iowa, the rest of their schedule looks like they won't have that big a problem. And before they get ahead, get up there to Columbus and Ohio State.
Hey, Mike, did I call you Brad?
I don't know. I don't know, Steve. Did I call you Bruce?
I'm sorry, I called you Brad.
Well, Mike's going to work tonight at 7:45 at Clemson. Out to the 40, pickup of a couple. As we're down almost to 4 minutes remaining in the first quarter.
See how much easier it was for Iowa to pick up that first down when they got it. They weren't 3rd and 10, 3rd and 11. They were 3rd and a manageable down.
Kind of works that way, but I'm wondering, how do you know that much about offense?
Well, one time I played offense. I don't remember when it was, but I did.
There's Ken O'Keefe, the offensive coordinator for Iowa.
How would you like to throw him to Paul McGuire?
Well, he held on to a lot of them, he says, as a senior in college. I don't know if that's why he started dropping them after that. Dominic Douglas dropped that one, but he made the catch, and the ball bounced out of bounds. Going to be a first down near midfield as they got about 10 yards on the play. The conclusion of our game today, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team. To honor their determination, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each University General Scholarship Fund. And I would say Dominique Douglas is the leader right now, just because he's caught about everything that's been thrown his way. Well, he's from just up the street outside of Detroit.
Well, he's caught 4 balls for 40 yards. The problem is they're leaving him out there one-on-one, and I don't blame Drew. Throw it out there. He's your best wide receiver, even though he's a true freshman.
Only the first true freshman to start at Iowa in the last 3 years. Here's Sims, and Sims picks up 12 and another first down. So this vaunted Michigan defense giving up some yardage right now to the Iowa Hawkeyes.
You know, Michigan has dominated this series over the years, but most of the games have been close.
Yep.
Iowa has always played Michigan tough.
They've split the last 4, but over the last 11, Michigan has won 9 of the last 11. There's the rush defense. Minnesota, the only team to get over 100 yards so far against Michigan this year. Tate, deep drop, steps up, fires, nowhere near his intended receiver that time. Incomplete, and it was Trey Strauss, beg your pardon. The Big Ten standings, we talked about Michigan being up on top. Well, now Ohio State's on top. Along with them, 4-0 and 4-0, 8-0 for Ohio State. 4 more touchdown passes for Troy Smith today. Wisconsin, a big win. They're 4-1, kind of sneaking around there at 7-1. And that remarkable Michigan State comeback that Matt was talking about. They came from, what, 31 down to win? Something like that.
That was a big win for John L. We'll just put it like that.
Yeah, that's the safest way to put it. 8th play of the drive here for Iowa. Screen. Nobody there to help. Herb Grigsby complete, but only about a 2-yard gain. He's the new defensive coordinator for Iowa, Ron English. He was a heck of a player at Cal in his day and kind of brings a new discipline to the defense of Michigan. He runs them hard even after 2 days, and they really like this guy. They rally around him.
Boy, and you see the aggressiveness of this defense, and you just look at what they've done so far this year. He just will not let them take one game lightly, especially this game.
Paul mentioned 25 sacks coming in. This is where you pin your ears back on 3rd and 8. But Tate gets rid of it, and he throws a strike, and he got it to Scott Chandler, his favorite target. First down, Iowa. Kind of a stunned Michigan crowd right there you're looking at as they worked it down inside the 30-yard line of the Wolverines.
Reese, can I ask you, are tight ends getting bigger?
This guy was a wide receiver when he first came to Iowa. Then he just kind of said, they told him, why don't you eat a little bit more and gain some weight and play tight end?
And he did.
Wouldn't you like to have one of the coaches say, why don't you eat more food?
At the 26, first down. Tate rolls looking to throw. Now he's in trouble, and now he got away somehow. He put himself down, but it was Tim Jamison coming.
Looks like he may have fallen on his hand when he fell, trying to keep his balance.
Sean Crable was chasing him too. Let's take another look.
Tim Jamison will get credit for this sack number 90, and that'll be his 4th sack of the year, and he's a backup defensive end because he is basically, no, I'll tell you what, Crable may get it because he's the last one to touch him.
Yeah, Crable number 2 is a guy that plays linebacker but stands up as a defensive end at times, and he is quite a specimen. 6'5", 241, and can run like crazy. Massillon, Ohio. They play some pretty good football there, I'd say.
They've always had good personnel here at Michigan, Brad, and this year is no different. But this year the schemes are a little different because the coordinators on offense and on defense are new this year for Lloyd Carr.
That sack on Drew Tate, even though it was kind of a Drew Tate sack, and he does look like he's favoring his left hand. First time he's been sacked in the last 65 pass attempts. Drew Tate is saying right now, after having that thumb taped over on the sideline, Raphael, when you snap it, get it in there. I don't want to drop it.
Well, make sure you hit the top hand. That's the right hand that will go on the top of his rear end.
So he gives Eubanks a pat with the left hand on the rear, and we'll watch the first snap. And he comes up throwing. No, he doesn't. And the ball is out. And Michigan's got it.
And that was Crable. Number 2, the blitzing lineman. If he got credit for that other sack, that's 2 sacks in a row for him. That gives him a total of 4.
Snap was clean, but he was hit immediately, and it hit off his knee. And then here comes the scramble for the football.
I think this ball just slips out of his hand. No, it's hit. It's knocked out of his hand by Crable. The reason he had to pull it down, though, was because the coverage out on the corner was there with Hall. So give Hall some credit for the coverage, and then the takeaway by the defense.
I've heard of short drops, but that wasn't even 3 steps, was it?
No, it was supposed to be a quick pass, but the corner was there.
Now Henne looking for a quick pass. Completes it out. Adrian Arrington, and Arrington trying to drag Adam Shada down the sideline. Picked up 9. Here's Arrington, number 16. This is a kid out of Cedar Rapids, Iowa, that the Hawkeyes offered a scholarship to after his freshman season in high school in Iowa. The only problem is when he came to Michigan's camp, saw this campus, saw this stadium, and thought, you know, a lot of guys have been NFL wide receivers coming out of here. He decided Ann Arbor was a spot for him.
You're right. A lot of guys have done that.
Second down in the yard with Breston in motion from the 50. Henne. Time to throw, and he got it to Arrington again. Slips through a man at the 40, and he's down to the 36-yard line. First down for Michigan. Pick up a 14.
Well, the other thing about Arrington, he is the only player on Michigan's offense in this game today that has a touchdown pass. He has 4 of them. No one else has a touchdown pass because Manningham, the guy that's sitting out of this ball game, has 9.
Mitch King is in there defensively for Iowa. Looking for some pass rush. He can provide it. Now it's Hart coming the other way. Mike Hart got to about the 33-yard line. And a flag down on the play. right in the mix of the offensive line. Let's see if we've got a holding call. The zone blocking scheme of Michigan is something that's a little bit new around Michigan's, not new to Iowa at all. They're very used to it because it's the same scheme they use offensively, so their defense pretty accustomed to that.
Play. Holding. Offense, number 85. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. Repeat first down. There will be one untimed down to end the quarter.
We are at the end of the quarter. We talked about receivers and Michigan. Some of the guys they've had. Look at the names.
They've had some good receivers at Michigan, right? Braylon Edwards, Carter, Desmond Howard.
Yep. And of course, Desmond, a Heisman Trophy winner. Mario Manningham now in that list up there in the top 8 as far as touchdown receptions with 17. And again, I mentioned earlier they hope to have him back maybe as early as next week. But this is the guy that's filled in for him now, and he is growing week by week. One untimed down here to end the first quarter. That was a spot foul, so it's first down and 17. Henning, last play of the quarter, across the middle. Boy, Arrington is right on cue for us. Picked up about 4 yards inside the 40 to the 39. So no score through one quarter. Iowa playing very well here in the Big House. But the Big Blue is on the march. We'll see if they can get the first score of the ball game to open the second quarter when we come back.
This is KEZI 9, awarded overall station excellence by the Associated Press.
And they've lived here in the Big House for 80 years at this stadium. Drew Tate on the sideline with his helmet off. Apparently is okay as we open the second quarter with a second down and 13 at the 39-yard line of Iowa. Michigan's got something rolling here courtesy of Henne to Arrington. Henne in trouble. Chad trying to buy himself some time. Look out. And throws it incomplete. Let's check in with Aaron and an update on Drew Tate. EA, what do you have?
Well, Brad, just observing Drew Tate over here by Iowa's bench. He came back to the bench after the offense left the field and looked to be really shaking that left hand. The trainers were concentrating on that thumb. He said several times he's okay. They redid his tape job. Michigan fans even taunting him from the sideline saying, Tate, you okay? Guys, he gave him a thumbs up.
He gave him a thumbs up, huh? As long as it's with the right thumb. As Paul said, well, he's a right-handed quarterback. He said during the timeout to you. I said the snaps are not always great, though. We saw that on the first one, I think, since he came back.
Sometimes you have a problem handing off with your left hand if you don't have that left thumb working.
Well, then don't hand off with your left hand. Hand off with your right hand.
Third down and 13. Henne over the middle. That should be pass interference, and there it is. And it was Adrian Arrington, the guy that was interfered with. We welcome you up to the booth for the first time. Brad Nessler, Bob Griese, Paul McGuire. Fellas, Iowa playing good in the first quarter, and the guys that are doing it with a lot of injured players, but they got at least some of them back today.
They have, and their offensive line, the right tackle's playing left tackle, and backup guard's playing right tackle, and they're doing well against that defensive line for Michigan.
But the one thing they cannot do in this ballgame, because they're not good enough to do that, is to overcome any mistakes. And they had a fumble already. They just can't do that.
You look like the Tennessee end zone on a bad day there, that sweater.
The leaves are falling.
The leaves are falling.
And my wife just kind of picked out this little sweater and said, now there's some blue leaves. Are there any blue leaves?
It's autumn in Ann Arbor.
And it's cute, though. It really is cute.
First down for the Wolverines at the Iowa 31-yard line. Chad Henne, here comes the pressure, and they get to him all the way back at the 45-yard line. Brian Madison, a defensive end. The junior, number 99, and a 14-yard sack.
Madison's going to come from the right side, number 99. Here he is right here. He just runs by the right tackle. It's Riley.
That's 4.5 sacks on the season.
Usually when that happens, when a defensive lineman runs by one of the offensive linemen, there's been some mental miscommunications up front there. I've been behind lines that have done that a lot. I know that well.
Tell us about it, Mr. Concussion.
Second down at 24 now. Henne on a crossing pattern, completes it. Got it to Carson Butler, his tight end, who takes it down near the original line of scrimmage. Got it back to about the 32-yard line, a pickup of 13. Reminder coming up. The Capital One halftime show. John, Craig, and Doug will have highlights and analysis from all this afternoon's big games, including Texas coming from behind to beat number 17, Nebraska. And Ohio State rolled on Indiana. Big day for Troy Smith. The sensational comeback, almost an unbelievable comeback that we tried to keep track of, and we were all sort of in shock because Michigan State was getting buried by Northwestern, and they came back to win that one by 3. 3rd and 11. Henning. Going to get dropped again. This time it's Edmund Miles, the outside linebacker and captain of the defense. So they got themselves in long yardage situations, and they just couldn't dig out of it, and that one's going to take them out of field goal range as well.
I don't know what Henny's thinking about. I mean, I know you have a pretty good offensive line, but you just can't sit back there that long and think that they're going to hold them out for what, 5 minutes? You got to get rid of that ball. This sack I blame on him and the coverage of the defense.
There you go. Covered downfield and no place to scramble. All the running lanes were blocked.
Mesko, the left-footed punter at midfield, hangs it up. Douglas fakes the catch and lets it bounce, and it's going to be touched at about the 8-yard line, or maybe the 9, by Michigan special teams. Now we got a shutout going here with 13:04 remaining in the first half. And Iowa hanging in against the number 2 team in the country. Drew Tate and that bad thumb. Go to work when we come back. All right, Matt keeps us posted here. No score. This is ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Best Buy. From Michigan Stadium, Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, and Aaron Andrews, and Albert Young for the first time in almost 3 weeks back in at tailback for Iowa. And he gets the call. Albert Young, Kirk Ferentz said, you know, there's a couple of guys that we need to get back. Mitch King on defense, Albert Young on offense, because he's so good out of the backfield, and he says, he's our juice. We need some juice. This is the guy.
Well, he can shake and bake. He can make something happen if there's nothing there. And guys like that, you don't like to lose those guys out of your offense.
He got 5 on his first carry. 2nd and 5. They'll try him again. This time going nowhere. Terrence Taylor, the big nose tackle out of Muskegon, Michigan, made the stop.
Brad, we're in the second quarter, obviously, but rushing the ball, Iowa has gained 15 yards total rushing. Michigan is minus 11 yards. But you got to understand something, folks. When a quarterback is sacked, that's taken off of the rushing total. The sacks are applied to rushing totals, not passing.
And both quarterbacks have been sacked 2 times.
Here's a 3rd down inside their own 15 for Iowa. Dangerous spot for Drew Tate and company. Here they come. Drew gets rid of it. Tips. Almost intercepted. Chandler had his hands on it. And Tate took another big shot. He's going to have tape all over his body by the time it's over. Lamar Woodley let him have it.
It's a good thing that Chandler went back after that ball, because had he not, it would have been intercepted.
Yep.
Tate missed one game earlier this year. Here's Chandler here. Watch him as he runs his route up the field. Now he tips it right here. See him go back for it? If he'd not gone back for it, the ball would have been intercepted.
Fenstermaker, it's going to be hard for him from his own goal line to keep this out of Breaston's hands no matter how he kicks it, unless he hits it a mile in the air, and he did. And a fair catch. Nice kick, because Breaston was saying, I'm going to get my hands on this one and do something with it. 43-yard kick, no return. Michigan's got great field position to work with, though, when we come back. There's all the colors that are on Bob's sweater vest right there. Colors of autumn with Halloween just around the corner. Lloyd Carr, 109 wins coming into this one, 7-5 last year, and everybody said, there's a guy in the hot seat. And he said to us yesterday, you know what? I always figured I was on the hot seat even when I was assistant to Bo Schembechler. And 12th season as a head coach, national champion in '97. Speaking of Bo, Coach Schembechler got a little bit ill yesterday before the taping of his weekly TV show. And if you have to know Bo, the doctors want him to go to the hospital. He said, we got to tape the show. So they taped the show, and I'll tell you the rest in a minute. Chad Henne, play action, and the throw is complete. It's a tight end again, spinning down, gets a first down all the way to the 40-yard line. So finally, Bo taped the show. They brought the ambulance in. They took him to the local hospital, which he has been in overnight. And we understand that at least up until game time, he's still there. And I'm sure they have him chained down, or Kathy has him chained to the bed. I don't know if he's watching the game. Coach, if you're watching the game, we miss you, especially when you hang your head out the window when we're getting ready to do the open of the game. And they go,
Greasy, you were never any good when you played, and you're no good at this.
That's right. His booth was right up above where we taped our opening. And I heard that the nurse came in and asked the coach, "Hey, coach, how much do you weigh?" And he says, 205 pounds of twisted, hard blue steel.
And that's why he likes guys like this guy. Twisted blue, 196 pounds of twisted blue steel is Mike Hart. And he just kept driving. You heard the big crowd erupt there as he picked it up down to a second down and 2. And now he's 78 yards away from 1,000. Bo, we hope you're doing fine. We hope to see you next time we're here. Here's Hart on the outside. And he's got a first down, and he takes a couple of guys with him. Miguel Merrick finally made the stop, and number 20's got it rolling a little bit now.
When you watch him run, Hart, we're talking about number 20, his legs never stop. And people say, second, third effort. I always consider it a continuous effort, because if you stopped on your first effort, that means you quit. This young man here does not stop. His legs are driving and driving. That's why he picks up the yards that he does.
Iowa's got a guy down. And not quite sure, can't see. It might be Adam Shada, I think. The corner of the junior out of Omaha, who's the leading interceptor, holding his lower leg down by his ankle. He's got 3 interceptions on the season. We'll check on him in a minute. Right now, it'll be the Aflac trivia question. Which 3 brothers all played the same position for the Iowa Hawkeyes and all wore the same number? Think about that one. That's a tough question.
That's a good one.
Paul come up with that one?
Yes, he did. Who? Yeah, that's him, Paul.
Shaded, trying to help him to his feet. Kirk Ferentz looking on. He knows he doesn't need any more injuries. That's for sure. The starters. And he's limping off, and it's the lower right leg. So we'll try to get a report from the sideline. Let's go in the pits, Bob. And we'll do it with Jake Long.
Yeah, we like to feature one offensive or defensive lineman each week. Feel like that all the skill players get a lot of attention, and this guy is really an outstanding player. The Michigan coaches talk about him higher, give him more accolades than any other offensive tackle that's come out of here.
Including John Jansen and all of those guys.
And some of the other guys. And so we're going to be watching him some today, and we'll have a little some of his best plays later on in the ball game.
He's up there at the top of the line. They're running that way, but they bring the end around coming back. And Steve Preston had to break about 3 tackles to lose a yard.
That play never looks good when it doesn't work, but when it works, the reverse. Oh, that was a great call.
Bob, I'm telling you, I hate that play. I hate the play where they run it from. You're at the 30, inside the 30-yard line, and usually when you run that play, usually you end up back about the 40, and it fails, and it takes you out of field position.
And, a great graphic there. I think what they're trying to do is find Steve Preston some open space and get him involved in the offense because he hadn't scored a touchdown this year. Here he is on a screen pass. He scored on a screen pass last year against Iowa, 52 yards. That was the deciding factor, really, in the overtime win. Got a short gain on that one, but the big smile on the face of Steve Preston. But I tell you, last time around, that's that play, or very close to it. And he got the crease and broke 2 tackles, and he went 52 yards down the sideline for the touchdown. And then it was finished off in overtime, 23-20. Third down coming up. Michigan 0 for 3 on their third down conversion so far today. Chad Henne pressured over the middle. Caught. Looks like it's going to be a first down to Greg Matthews. And, boy, he came back, got a hand on it, and sort of tipped it to himself.
It was a bad throw. Chad Henne had some problems, and he threw the ball low and a little bit behind him. But the true freshman, Matthews, went down and got it for a big first down. Here he is here. He's just going to go across the formation. Now the ball is behind him, catches it. That's for a true freshman, that's big time because that's a big first down. That's why the ball was behind and low.
Yes, Madison was the reason it was behind and low.
Yeah.
7th play of the Michigan drive. First down, their deepest penetration down to the Iowa 16. Henne fires and hits Carson Butler in a bad spot. Right in his right hand. Let's get another update. Matt Weiner in New York. Matt.
Brad, here's a candidate for the Pontiac game-changing performance today. Nebraska trying to run out the clock to finish an upset of Texas. Zach Taylor to Terrence Nunn, but Aaron Ross pops it loose. Marcus Griffin recovers to set up the game-winning field goal. You want to vote for your Pontiac game-changing performance? Just get yourself to ESPN.com, keyword Pontiac.
Well, Nebraska is so much better than they have been now, and a heartbreaking loss for them, but that shows Texas and why they're number 5 in the country. Got to make big plays at important times. Let's see if Michigan make one here. Henne throws complete. Butler's got this one. And the Butler did it down to the 4-yard line. 1st and goal.
You know, that's the exact same play they just ran a moment ago, and they just came right back to the same play. Same call, same play, same receiver. They got a linebacker, Hempel, trying to cover him, and he just doesn't get it done.
Monday night, Eli Manning takes on Drew Bledsoe and T.O. and the rest of the group. Important divisional clash. Monday Night Football, 8:30 Eastern. Also available in high def on ESPN HD and Spanish on ESPN Deportes.
There's Greston out there lined up single coverage.
1st and goal. Mike Hart cut back into the middle of the Hawkeye defense, and he might have gotten a yard. Marcus Pascal came up from the secondary, made the stop. Sleddon gets pretty tough right now down there around the 3- and 4-yard line. Pascal, he was banged up too. He's only playing at about 50%, Norm Parker says. And he said the same thing for Marcus Wilson at that safety spot. I said, take both their 50s and make it 100, Norm.
They had there's 8 guys on the defense, I think, are 50-50 going into this ball game.
There's Preston Arrington to the top of your screen. 2nd and goal at the 3. Henne going to go to Arrington. Touchdown. Nope. He is bobbling it going out of bounds. Boy, made a heck of a catch. But it's incomplete.
That was Godfrey on the outside. Now, I'm going to tell you what. I guess you're allowed to push off a little bit in college football, aren't you?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, well, I hope so.
No, he didn't push off.
You saw that? Now, there's the bobble, so he didn't get his feet down, but he bobbled the ball.
Here's another look.
That's the push-off. That's not a push-off. That's pushing off.
That's closer than you think.
No, that's a good call. He was bobbling the ball right there.
Bobbling. Now, did he scrape the toe after he got it, though?
Well, that's...
Boy, that one was really close.
Yeah, but I would say they got that one right.
Jim Augustine is our replay official over here to our left. And that's 3rd down and goal. Henne, play fake. Arrington, corner. No, he's out on the other side.
And he was, too.
The only thing they can do now is throw it right by the goalpost to number 16. 4th down.
Take a look.
Working against Merrick.
Can't really tell from there.
No.
Well, you can't.
This one will show us.
Watch this. And now he just gets the ball now, and his left foot is up in the air. His right foot comes down inbounds. Just remember, it's control of the football. You have to have control of the football before you come. And when you come down, you have to be inbounds. It's a very simple process, you know.
Have you ever played offense and tried to execute that play?
Yeah.
How many passes did you throw?
When I was in college, I was 6'6". I just, I started to work.
The play is being reviewed now, as all plays are in college football. This is going to be an official review. And
what Jim Augustine wants to do upstairs is just take another look at it. Wants to see this from a couple of different angles just to make sure.
We watch him watch it in.
Was his foot on the ground when the ball was in his hands?
That's the big question. And it was such a bang play, and we're doing it in super slow motion here for you.
Well, you take a look at now. Does he have control? Just look at the ball. Does he have control here of the ball? Now he's got control of the ball, and his right foot is out of bounds.
His right foot never landed in, but did his left foot? Did he have the toes of his left foot down when he had control of the football?
Yeah, exactly. Was his left foot still on the ground when the ball got to his hands?
What do you think?
I'm glad they're calling, not me.
Yeah,
that's about as close as you can get.
That's
Here's
tough.
the best look,
Here you
I think.
go, right here.
This is not a touchdown.
Ball.
He doesn't have control of the ball yet.
Well, his
left foot's up when he gets control.
Well, his foot was on the ground when the ball was in his hands.
So you're saying it's a catch?
It's a matter of did he have control of it?
Well, we're going to find out right now from Dave Whitvote.
After review, video confirms the call on the field. The pass was incomplete.
4th down. So Arrington had 2 close ones. So did Chad Henne.
I played offense, pal. I'd have made that catch.
Garrett Rivas is 10 out of 12 on the year.
That's why you played defense.
We'll try a 20-yard field goal.
They put all the guys that can't catch on defense. That's why they don't get interceptions.
Rivas' field goal is up and good, and finally we've broken the scoreless tie. Michigan on top at home. 7:13 remaining first half.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Well, the last time Iowa had the ball, it was a quick 3 and out. Albert Young made his first appearance in almost 3 weeks, and he got the call off the right side for 5 yards on first down. Then Drew Tate came right back to him up the middle, and that one was very little gain. And on 3rd down, Chandler really saves a play here. It's incomplete, but it could very well have been intercepted. So only a minute and a half they took off the last time they have it. They'll get it back now as Rivas is set to kick. Damian Sims and Herb Grigsby are back deep for the Hawkeyes near the goal line. And this will be Herb Grigsby at about the 1. And he runs right into a wall of maize and blue before he got to the 20-yard line. So Iowa works with 7:05 remaining in the first quarter. The Big Ten today, Ohio State. Troy Smith had 4 touchdown passes. They routed Indiana. Michigan State from way back to win 41-38. North Dakota State's leading Minnesota. That's not good. Up in Minneapolis, Wisconsin. It was a big day for P.J. Hill as they routed Purdue. And here we are, 3-0 Michigan. And Albert Young about a half yard and then got whacked by Alan Branch. Boy, I tell you what, those 4 guys up front, we've seen Taylor make plays, we've seen Branch make plays. Rondell Biggs and Lamar Woodley have been trying to make life miserable for Drew Tate. That's quite a front 4.
This guy right here, he is 6 foot. This is Taylor. He's 6 foot tall, 305 pounds. He is a high school state champion wrestler.
You love those guys.
Oh, and he is the nose tackle. He's playing right over that center. I mean, a guy that's low to the ground and he's a wrestler. I stayed away from that wrestling match. I never went over there in high school.
2nd down and 9. Boy, everybody up front for Michigan right now. Tate's going to have a look. Let's see if they bring all this heat. They will. Play action. Screen pass would be a good play if they get it going. Albert Young, blocker in front. He's got a first down and out of bounds. Boy, you talk about the perfect play call with everybody coming. And he's got a first down and a pickup of 18.
Nice call. That's a nice play to slow down a rush. We're just talking about all those defensive linemen. Good play, good execution by Tate.
Boy, I'll tell you, when Albert Young got the ball, there was absolutely nobody around him.
Well designed, well executed. 7th different receiver that Drew Tate has used so far today. And a first down at the 38-yard line. Iowa trailing by 3 here in the second quarter. Young, right side, and he got about a yard, and that was about it. Earlier, we asked you the Aflac trivia question. The 3 brothers that played at Iowa that all played the same position and all wore the same number. I bet you a lot of you got it back in Iowa anyway. The Stoops brothers. Bob and Mike and Mark all wore number 41. Of course, Bob's the head coach at Oklahoma, Mike's the head coach at Arizona, and Mark is Mike's defensive coordinator in the Stoops family that goes way back, the guys you used to hang out with.
And I was very fortunate to grow up with their father, Ronnie Stoops.
Penalty markers on the play. You guys kind of terrorized the neighborhood, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, he actually did. I had 2 other brothers, and there were 4 Stoopses and a couple of Lynches, and that just about did it.
Ball start. The entire line. Offense.
Oh, there you go. Everybody move. I think Drew Tate, I think the center had the snap count wrong, maybe.
Either that or there was some funny sounds coming out of Drew Tate's mouth on the cadence.
Kirk Ferentz writes that one down and says, I'm going to have a chat with those boys about that one. Remember, that line has been shifted all around. The exception, really, of Mike Jones, the left side, and Marshall Yanda. Those guys kind of stayed where they were supposed to be, but everybody else has been shifted around.
And the guys that are back have been hurt for a while. Eubanks, the center, a redshirt freshman playing against Taylor, that wrestler we were talking about.
Yep. Young trying to get outside. He can't. Boy, a great tackle by Morgan Trent. Out in the open field, and they're going to be a loss on the play. Drew Tate so far 10 out of 15.
That's where he's throwing them. He's throwing them, a lot of them. 8 of 9 over here, short and to his left.
Well, he said, Kirk Ferentz said, you know, Albert Young offensively is such a big threat out of the backfield as a receiver. And that's something he gives him that Damian Sims doesn't give him as much of. And now when it's 3rd down and a mile, as Paul said earlier, don't get in 3rd down and long. Well, don't get in 3rd down and 15 because Woodley and Biggs and company are in their track stances. Tate's going to throw long. Got a man out there and almost caught by Dominique Douglas. Pretty good coverage, though, and Prescott Burgess got some heat. Morgan Trent the coverage.
Top of your screen. What you're not going to see here is Tate getting another good hit. The ball was right there, but the coverage was there also. There's the hit. Drew Tate is getting hit almost every time he throws the football.
You know, the end of that play with the color of the uniforms almost looked like Swanee, but Swanee caught that one.
Yeah, he did a sky.
It was 88.
He did about 4 feet high.
Not a great punt here, but it stays out of Breston's hands. No, it doesn't. He takes it on a hop and got about 3 yards on the return after the 39-yard line. So Michigan's got the lead. They're going to have the ball, plenty of time to work with, and their timeouts when we come back.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Welcome back to the Big House. Michigan leading 3-0. Iowa's defense on the field, and as they were sitting on the sidelines, their head coach Kirk Ferentz came over and said, you need to work your feet. If they grab you and hold on, don't tire out. Work your feet. Also, guys, an injury update for Iowa's D. Adam Shada, cornerback, he was in the locker room. It looked with an apparent ankle injury. They have brought him out. They're working on him right now, which is good news because we know these guys are banged up. Of course, defensive coordinator Norm Parker saying if Lloyd Carr was any sort of a gentleman, he'd take his first teamers out and they'd go to the World Series.
That's Norm for you. He's a throwback. Thanks, Aaron. At the 39. And it's Mike Hart. And they didn't give Mike much today. He's really having to battle for the yard and 2. He gets here and there. Klinkenborg made a stop. Only 23 carries on 23 yards rather on 9 carries for Mike Hart. There's Norm. He's been around the horn a few times.
Yeah, he's a good guy. Good guy. Loves to coach football. Has been at Iowa for 8 years, as long as Kirk Ferentz has been there. And usually has a very good defense, very aggressive.
They haven't been able to get turnovers. They had their first fumble recovery of the year last week in their 6th week of the season. They're trying to get Breston loose over there on that pass play, and it hasn't worked so far. He got about 3. Godfrey, who's in there for Adam Shada, made the stop, and it's bring up 3rd down and about 6. Coming up, Capital One halftime show. John and Craig and Doug will have all the scores and highlights and analysis from the earlier games. Some big ones. Ohio State, a big rout. Alabama and Tennessee in the SEC. Texas beat Nebraska. All that and a lot more in about 3 minutes and change. 3rd down, a long 5 as Henne may be changing things up here at the line. 3 wideouts for Chad as he drops, looking right all the way, and he throws a perfect strike to the 47-yard line to Breston. Boy, that's as good a pitch and catch as you can do.
Well, you can't do it any better. You can't throw it, you can't catch it, and you can't cover it any better. Godfrey's on the coverage. The ball is thrown perfectly to the outside. I mean, that's just good football right there.
Breston came in as a leading receiver. He's got 4 more today. 32 catches on the year for Steve. In Iowa territory. Nice play fake by Henne. Going deep down the middle. Arrington and Breston. Breston was the intended receiver, but that one was way out in front of him. Flag down, and it's going to go against Michigan, I believe.
Alex Mitchell, number 73, the right guard, was holding.
We'll get the call here
During
from
the play,
Dave
holding,
Whitvote.
Offense, number 73, 10 yards from the 3.
Let's take a look at our Pacific Life game summary. Drew Tate on this play trying to avoid the sack, put his hand down and suffered what we assume is a sprained thumb. He had to go to the sideline. They have it heavily taped. Chad Henne's been getting roughed up a little bit too by Madison and company on the Iowa defense. And Mike Hart has been held in check. Only 23 yards on his 9 carries. So the story, Pacific Life-wise, so far is you're running for your life, and the defenses are playing great on both sides.
Yeah. Not exactly what Pacific Light had in mind.
No, not exactly.
Running for your life.
2:36 remaining in the half. Here's that stretch play to Hart. And Bain's going to wrap him up. He keeps his legs moving and gets out maybe to the 48-yard line. About 4 more for Mike. So he's still got 60-plus yards to go before he hits that magical 1,000. As we approach 2 minutes, Preston comes in and brings the play. As Chad Henne has a look.
Coaches say he's the heart and soul. That little guy right there.
Yep.
When he's in there, he says when he's in the huddle, he fires up the offensive lineman. They say he's electric just having him in the huddle.
Henne, play action, hesitating, and now throws to Hart across midfield. And Mike's got it down to about the 42-yard line. You know, he has admiring opposing coaches, too. In fact, Kirk Ferentz talked with us about what number 20 gives the Maize and Blue.
He just has great leg drive, great leg strength, obviously. He's got good vision like any good back. But I'm just impressed with his toughness and the heart that he plays with. And I think it's infectious not only for the rest of the offense, but I think it's infectious for the whole football team.
It's infectious just when you talk to the kid. He comes in a room and he's one of those guys that just lights it up.
And no question about it. We always enjoy sitting down talking with Mike Hart.
3rd down and 6 here. 3rd downs have not been that good to Michigan. Let's see if they pick this one up. Henne throws. Diving attempt this time by Arrington. Much like the play to Preston, but Adrian couldn't stretch out to pull that in, and it's 4th down.
You know what we're seeing, Bob? Some great coverage. We're seeing outstanding coverage by defensive backs on both sides.
Arrington took a little bit too long to get out of that move. And he had to throw it when he threw it.
There's Mike DeBoard on the left there with the glasses and the headphones, the offensive coordinator.
Scott
Leffler, the quarterback coach to his right. That's the brain trust of the offense for Michigan. Mesko to punt. Hangs it up high. Douglas just going to let this one go, and oh boy, they did a dance down there.
That's very good, very good. Very good coverage of the punt.
And they got it down at the 1-yard line. Let's take a look at the ESPNU All-State Standings Review. Ohio State with a win today over Indiana. USC is undefeated but idle this weekend. Michigan in this game were involved win. Auburn was leading Tulane pretty handily last time I looked. West Virginia beat UConn last night. Florida's off this weekend. Louisville, a win at Syracuse. Notre Dame trailing UCLA. The last time we checked, Texas came from behind to beat Nebraska. And Cal's at number 10.
Yeah,
I don't know how Cal's at number 10 when we saw Tennessee wax them in Knoxville. You get that one or not?
Well, they've beaten some teams since then.
Yeah,
and how about Auburn back up there amongst all those undefeated teams after getting beat by Arkansas at home?
That is a tough SEC, boy. There's the fullback trying to get Iowa a little room to breathe. Tom Bush carries it out for about 3.
Brad, did Cal go get another team somewhere?
After we saw them, they did.
Because we didn't see anything. I mean, when they lost to Tennessee, I thought, well, this team, somebody's wrong here. Crazy, because they weren't very good.
Yeah, they got a good coach, and their quarterback's hot now, and their running backs are starting to put it together, and their defense is fast. And they are one notch ahead of the BCS standings of that Tennessee team that we talked about. We got a timeout with 23 seconds remaining. Michigan trying to get the ball back, see if they can do something else before halftime. Well, do you chance a throw down here? 2nd down and 7. Iowa in the final 25 seconds. Keep it on the ground. And we'll see if Michigan's going to take another timeout. You see it's being taken by Tim Jamison. If nobody else, Tim wants one. And that would put Michigan down to 1 timeout. With 22 seconds left,
well, they can force
3rd down coming up.
They can force Iowa to punt the ball out of their own end zone, and that's what the goal. They got 3rd and 6, and Michigan can call timeout one more time if Iowa doesn't pick up the 1st down.
This is, everybody thinks, the biggest hurdle remaining on the way to Columbus, because this is Michigan's remaining schedule. Northwestern and Ball State, and then on the road in Indiana And then November 18th, what could be, who knows, number 1 against number 2.
Could be.
And we're looking forward to that one.
Yes, we are. I'll tell you what, we got to know that those two are going to be undefeated when we get them.
There you go. Look at this.
Minnesota.
Ohio State.
And those are the records coming in today. Illinois has lost. They're 2-6. Northwestern's 2-6. Minnesota was losing to North Dakota State. So there's 3 teams with 2 wins. 2 of them we know are going to remain 2 wins, at least for another week. And that's who Ohio State has before they've got number 2 Michigan. 3rd down and 6. Let's see if Michigan's defense can stop Iowa and force a punt. They've got 1 timeout left to work with. Albert Young is back in there at tailback. And Drew Tate's going to roll and throw. Safe pass, out of bounds. Nice hit at the 10-yard line.
Michigan doesn't have to use their final timeout.
Now there's 2 ways to approach this. You go full blast and try to block the kick, or you say, let's get the return on and let's see if we can get Steve Breaston in some space.
Well, the way you make your decision is special teams work all week. Do you feel like you've got a good chance to block a punt? And if you do, this is a good time to do it.
Now, if I'm the punter, I'll tell you what I do standing in the end zone, because I did this for a lot of years. I would make sure I'd kick the ball out of bounds, try about the 50-yard line or the other 45, and I would aim at the sideline. Don't give him any running room.
Only 9 of Fenstermaker's 33 punts this year have even been returned. He hits this one high and short. Breaston, fair catch, and he gets run into. And now Michigan grabs the ball. Merrick, it looked like the guy that ran into Breaston.
Well, I think his own man hit him, didn't he?
His own man did, yeah. His own man ran into him.
That's why there's no flags out there. But there's 9 seconds remaining. And a couple of cracks at the end zone. And you're right.
Yeah.
Merrick was the closest guy, but it was friendly fire that got
it was Behringer.
Breaston.
Behringer trying to do a job blocking. Gets pushed into...
Merrick pushed him into
him. He did a nice job, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Iowa only ran 43 seconds off the clock, so Michigan's got a couple cracks at it here with 1 timeout remaining. 9 seconds left. Henne loads and fires out, and it's complete and out of bounds to Arrington. So now they've got it set up down to the 35-yard line.
The new timing rules came into play right there.
And we've got a Michigan guy down, one of the linemen in the backfield, Reuben Riley.
Riley, yeah.
Shaken up on the play. There's 1 second left. Garrett Rivas' career-long field goal is 48 yards. This would be about 51 if they decide to try to kick it right here. And if you can see the lines, career-long for Rivas would have to get the line of scrimmage to the 31. And his career-long is the yellow line. So it's going to be deeper than that, though.
Henny staying in the ball game.
And Iowa's going to take a timeout. So everybody's got a chance to think about it. And I'm sure somewhere on that sideline, the kicker for Michigan is going to say, Coach, I can hit this. While we're waiting and see what they do, let's check in with Matt Weiner in New York. Matt?
All right, Brad, a few moments ago you mentioned Cal sitting 10th in the BCS standings. They won't be for much longer if they can't come back at home against Washington. Carl Bonnell filling in for Isaiah Stanback hits Anthony Russo 10-0. Cal has tacked on a field goal to make it 10-3. Boston College has just scored to go up 14-10 in Tallahassee. Same score in South Bend. A couple of Patrick Cowan touchdown passes have the Bruins on top.
Boston College could take control of their side of things in the ACC. And, of course, a big game in Death Valley tonight on ESPN. Clemson hosting Georgia Tech. Now, you're right. The offense is going to stay out there. So Michigan's going to take a crack at the end zone here. And Garrett's got his helmet off.
Yeah, he said, Coach, I can make it. And the coach said, no, you can't. So go sit down.
Final play, barring a penalty of the first half.
Riley, the right tackle, is out. Mitchell moves out to the right tackle.
And Justin Bourne comes in on that offensive line. Trips to the top of your screen. All 3 wide receivers to the left. Flags are down. If it's on Michigan, it's not going to matter what happens. But Henne going deep to the corner. Tipped and almost caught it. Incomplete. Again, penalty marker right at the snap. We got a hold on here. Michigan, I think, thinks it's against them because most of their sidelines coming out on the field.
Illegal formation. Not enough men on the line of scrimmage. Offense. The penalty is declined. The half is over.
And the half does end right there. A defensive battle in the Big Ten. ESPN's presentation of college football on ABC will return after this message and a word from our ABC stations. Michigan by 3 at halftime at home. This ESPN production is available on ABC HD, presented by Dish Network. Halftime, Michigan Stadium. And the Wolverines, the number 2 team in the country, struggling with the Iowa Hawkeyes. 3-0 as we're just about set to start the third quarter. Welcome back, everybody. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire. We expected defense, at least from Michigan's side. I don't know if we expected it this much from both sides.
Don't like it.
Don't like it. No, you don't like it. You want to see some points.
I want some points. I'm an offensive guy. But I think we're going to see something in the second half. Michigan especially, I think they're going to come out. They've had some problems. They had some chances downfield, single coverage with the pass. But Iowa is stopping their run game.
Do not let Iowa hang around too long. I think that they've got to come out here and score, put some points on the board, and let these guys know at Iowa that they can score, because if they keep laying back, Iowa's going to connect on one of these.
Remember last year the game went to overtime. Iowa thought they had a chance to win that one, and Michigan pulled it out 23-20 at the end. So it's kind of set up like that. Remember, this would spoil everything for Michigan and their fans, because this was supposed to be the last bump.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Before
Ohio State.
Last year had the 5 losses, and all the stars seem to be getting in line for this year. They've been winning. Everything's not many injuries, and the injuries they did have to Manningham and the tight end Ecker were not season-ending. They were going to be back in a couple of weeks.
Remember, Iowa won the toss and took the ball to start the first half. So Michigan will be able to get their hands on it first. And in that first half was not much there from Mike Hart. Guy that's been rolling along and was on his way to a 1,000-yard season. He still may get there, but he's going to have to work at it in the second half. Kirk Ferentz had a chance, I think, to chat with Erin Andrews. Erin, what'd you hear from him?
Well, Kirk Ferentz, guys, still incredibly tense like the Kirk Ferentz we know, but he did have a little grin on his face, you can imagine, by only being down by 3 points. He says he likes what they're doing on offense. He says Drew Tate is fine, and there's no way he's coming out of this game. They're going to continue to run Young in there. He says he likes what he's doing as well. They just got to go a little, got to get in there with Michigan's defense and also with his defense. He says he's extremely happy with them. He said, we're not out of this thing, and these guys know that, and they know what they have to play for the rest of the year.
The highest ranked opponent that Michigan has ever beaten was in that Iowa's ever beaten was in 1985. They beat Michigan 12-10. The problem was at that time Iowa was number 1 in the country and Michigan was number 2.
Yeah.
So Iowa set to kick. Schlicker will tee it up back deep. Brandon Miner and Carl Tabb in sort of an I formation back there. 110,000 plus waiting for something good to happen to their Wolverines. 54th meeting between these two teams. Michigan doesn't want to spoil their best start since the 97 team that won the national championship. 7-0 for the 21st time in their history, but only the 3rd time in the last 20 years. So here we go. Big second half and an important second half for both teams. Schlicker with a kick. It'll be Miner at the 2, drop the ball, retrieves it, and that is not where Michigan wanted to start its first possession of the third quarter. At the 5-yard line. Let's take a look at our Pacific Live game summary. Statistically, you're not going to see a whole bunch of stuff pop up here, that's for sure. 3-0.
Total yards for Michigan, 135.
That average drive start is not good for Iowa.
No, it is not. Own 16-yard line, where Michigan is starting almost at their 40-yard line.
Michigan 15-13 of the first half. They are the number 1 team in the country in time of possession at over 34 minutes. Worst starting field position for them by far today as you look at Steve Breston and the rest of the group near their own goal line. Chad Henne sets the Wolverines at the 5. Mike Hart straight into the thick of the Iowa defense, and he only got out to about the 9-yard line. When you talk about out of whack statistics and you think about how good number 20 is, he happens to be part of our out of whack stat. Before that carry, 27 rushing yards is all, and he averages 129.
Well, he's got 32 now. He only needs 99 more, I think.
Anybody that plays Michigan will tell you that the thing that Michigan will always try to do is establish the run. Smash mouth, just jam it down your throat.
Michigan has owned every quarter that they played this year, and the third and fourth quarters a couple of their best, so there's a lot ahead for them. Here's a quick slant, a first down throw. Adrian Arrington, that's his 5th catch of the day. Good for 10 yards out to the 20. Arrington definitely becoming one of Chad Henne's favorites with Mario Manningham out with the injury. Let's check in with Aaron.
Guys, Adrian Arrington, of course, not so much of a homecoming, but he is from Cedar Rapids, Iowa. Last year, he didn't get to play against the Hawkeyes because he was out with an ankle injury. He said he was looking forward to this game, had it on the map. Mom and a bunch of people were coming and bringing some home cooking. Whatever they ate there at Iowa. What do they eat there, guys?
Probably the same thing we had at halftime. Corn and bratwurst. Henne goes to his 3rd receiver, and it's Hart. And he just cartwheels out to about the 27-yard line.
Boy, I'll tell you, was this a great play by Henne?
Yeah.
You know, Bob, you stand back there, and when you see a quarterback do the things that he did, watch this. He's going to look to his right. There's nobody there. Now he looks in the middle. There's nobody there. Now he goes back to his left. I mean, he's got that much time to do that.
You know, that speaks to the coaching that he's getting from Scott Loeffler, the quarterback coach. Just take your time, go through your reads, and here's your outlet. Just 1, 2, 3, throw.
Now they go back to Hart off the right side, and he got it out for about 2 more. And it'll bring up 3rd down and a yard upcoming. Iowa defense just not giving Mike Hart any room to run so far today.
Iowa defensively is playing really well today, much better than they have played all season long. In fact, even last year, the defense was not rated very highly in the conference or in the nation. But Norm Parker's crew is doing really well here today, especially stopping the Michigan run.
The officials stop play here with 13:21 remaining. I don't know if they may have a clock problem.
There's a problem with the clock.
That's what I thought as he looked downfield.
You know, Brad, I don't trust defensive coordinators. We talked to Parker on the phone. He told us about how banged up they are and how good Michigan was and is and how much they fear Michigan, and now they're playing him toe-to-toe. I mean, he talked to us, but I think he was psyching us out a little bit.
Oh, yeah. He does that a lot. Well, we've got a little break with the clock not working. Got a Who Am I for you. I was the MVP of the Rose Bowl win over Washington State in January of '98. Pretty good toss right there. Who am I? And we'll give you the answer to that one in just a second. I think that number 14 looks kind of familiar to me, as they've got the clock fixed. And a 3rd down and a yard. Oh, they're still checking it out. Well, let's give you the answer to Who Am I? Rose Bowl MVP. Here he is. Chicago Bears got a weekend off. Brian Griese joined us. How you doing, partner?
It's great to be here. I'd like it to be a little bit better score, but we got a lot of game left to play.
Hey, back, Lloyd Carr said to us, this is the best team he's had since you guys won the national championship. You had a rough first half against Iowa, and you had to come back from behind and win that ball game.
I don't like to remember the first half of that game. But we came back in the second half.
Well,
You've got it.
You had kind of a rough first half. Your dad told us about that, but then you dive over from a yard, and then you roll out. I think you got your tight end probably coming up here on a little bootleg, and right there, boom, come from behind. 28-24, and that was part of your run all the way to Pasadena.
That was a big game for us. It was really the stepping stone for the rest of the season. It humbled us in a lot of ways and gave us a chance to really respect the challenge ahead of us and an opportunity to know that we could get beat on any Saturday, but if we played well, we would win every one of them.
It's strange to be up here doing a broadcast and doing a Michigan game and having him sit next to me. Normally, he'd be out there on the field and I'd be saying, all right, you got to be fair now.
That's right.
You got, you know.
Hey, why don't you leave him alone? He's auditioning for the broadcast booth. Will you leave him alone? Let him talk.
Figure you got to quit someday. I figure I keep it in the family. I'm not ready yet. And we're going to come back to him in a second here. And now we got whistles and flags all over on a 3rd down and a yard. What do you think, Brian, of this Michigan team? You've had a chance. I think you had a chance to talk to the team too, didn't you?
Talked to him last night, and I hope that's not the reason we're only up 3 points. You know. But I really like what Lloyd Carr has done with this team. every year he comes up with some kind of a motivational tactic, and the same is true this year. I really think that they're playing well on defense, and that's given them a chance to win every game. And if they continue to play well on defense, that was really the staple of our 97 team, they'll be able to win each game.
And, of course, November 18th, everybody's got a big circle or star around that on their calendar at Ohio State. 3rd down and 6 now after the penalty. Breaston in motion across the field. Henny back to throw, looking right now, comes back across the field, and he's got complete to Greg Matthews. And Matthews is across the 30. Looks like he's going to have himself a first down.
Brian, I know you came to school with the current quarterback coach, Scott Leffler. He was here. He was one of your teammates at the time, and now he is coaching the quarterbacks. He's done a great job, and you've kind of talked to him a little bit also, haven't you?
He's done a wonderful job. I think the way that he has been coaching these quarterbacks, the fundamentals have been the most important thing. And then secondary, he's been able to bring some new concepts offensively to the team.
Here's a first down now after the pass play from Henny to Greg Matthews, the freshman. Michigan at its own 30-yard line, trying to get something going offensively. Henny, here comes the rush. There goes the ball. Loose. And Michigan's going to fall on it. Nice job by Riley to get over there to cover it. But great pressure as Madison, who's been a problem all day long, a loss of 13. And Greg Madison's kid, Brian, is having a great game so far. And Greg's here because he's a defensive line coach at Florida. So Dad is here to watch. And, boy, his kid's putting on a show.
Riley was hurt a little bit earlier in the ball game, the right tackle there. And Madison just runs around him. Uses his quickness, and Riley goes over and kind of deflates the ball.
Second sack of the day for Madison. Now it's 2nd down and 22.
Well, Brian, you're with an undefeated team. I mean, just seriously about Chicago, how good are they?
Well, we'll see. You know, we'll see. We'll take it one game at a time. Our last game wasn't very good. I know that.
Here's the throw, batted in the air.
I know I talked to your dad about it, and you know your dad? The guy sitting next to you, you're right. That guy, I was talking to him the other day about it. He said he has never in his lifetime, and he's been around a long time, you ever seen a team turn the ball over 6 times and win a football game and not score an offensive touchdown?
Well, it's because it's never happened.
That's probably why, huh? 3rd and 22. There aren't a lot of these in the playbook.
Oh, he's going to be good up here. I'm telling you. He's going to be good. Brian's good.
Are you trying to kick the old man out already?
Yeah.
3rd down and 22. Henny pumps down the middle. Almost. In fact, it is intercepted. He got it. Picked off by Humpel, the linebacker. Pascal got a piece of it. Humpel got the ball. And so Iowa, first interception for Henny in his last 95 throws, and it comes in Michigan territory. So a golden opportunity for the Hawkeyes here.
Here's one of the great examples of the tip drill. And every defense works on it. Watch it. That's when the ball goes up.
That's Pascal.
Pascal hits the ball up in the air. It just keeps it alive. Look at this. That's teamwork.
And then Humpel almost took his head off on the interception, but they'll take it at the Michigan 27-yard line. Sims a tailback. Tate might want to take advantage on the first play, and he does come up throwing, and he picks up about 8 yards or so. So Michigan now on its heels a little bit, under 11 minutes. Brian, we're probably going to let you go after a couple of replays here. Here's Tate going on top. We know you want to get back out. We know who you're cheering for because of your shirt and everything. And your beautiful wife, Brooke, is here. Who's got Anna Leah Rose today? That's what I want to know. Who's taking care?
Grandma's taking
Grandma's
care of her.
got
She's
her.
in good hands.
Well, that's good. 2nd down and short, about a yard to go. And it's going to be close as Damian Sims on the carry and might have a first down. There she is.
My
boy.
goodness.
And then she's got the Heisman pose on this. That's what I like. She's got that beautiful blue eyes. The beautiful blue eyes of Mom and Grandpa, I guess.
I do think so. Her eyes look like Grandpa's,
Yeah,
I think.
a little bit.
You know?
I just hope she grows up to look like her mama.
Talk about my granddaughter. Now, don't take her too far. I haven't seen her much.
All right, we got a timeout. Brian, thanks for joining us, buddy.
Good to see you guys.
That's great. We got a timeout with the score 3-0. And Iowa right now on a little bit of a drive. And they're going to take a look to measure here. And it's close. That close. The tip of the football close. And 3rd down coming up.
It's a great opportunity for Kirk Ferentz and the Hawkeyes.
3rd down and inches. Trying to take advantage of the interception. At the Michigan 17. Sims a tailback in the eye. They fake it to him. Tate now scrambling, trying to throw. Here comes the pressure, and he threw it away. So it's 4th down and inches. Lamar Woodley was coming with a heat.
I like the call. I like the call by Kirk Ferentz. The problem is Michigan, the defensively had it covered. 2 receivers were out, and both of them were covered well.
So that's going to bring out the field goal unit to try to tie things up. Here came Woodley. And Tate had no choice.
He bought some time, just tried to scramble a little bit, give the receiver some time to shake loose, and nobody could get free.
Kyle Schlicker is 8 out of 11 on the season. His career long, or his season long, is 45. They ask him for only a 34-yarder here to try to tie it up. The kick on the way, and we got a tie ball game in Ann Arbor. As Paul said, don't let him hang around. Kirk Ferentz is saying, let's hang around. Got a lot of football left. 10:06 left, 3rd quarter, tie game.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Kirk Ferentz was really upset with number 2, Sean Crable. Thought he had an illegal leap trying to block that field goal, but it was an Iowa player that he went up and over, not one of his own. He didn't catapult from one of his own players, so Kirk lost that battle. And Crable got almost in the line of fire, but the kick by Schlicker was good, and we're tied at 3-3. This ESPN College Football on ABC brought to you by Best Buy. Tie game, 10:06 left, 3rd quarter from Michigan Stadium on what is now a sun-drenched far side of the field. After morning showers and cold temperatures, a perfect day for football in Ann Arbor. Schlicker's kick. Steve Breaston at the 2. Breaston in the open field. He's got 1 kick return for a touchdown in his career. Not going to get there, but a great return all the way to the 35-yard line. Finally, number 15 gives Michigan the spark they've been looking for.
Here's a guy that's going to show you some speed. This is speed. Leslie gets back to the outside, but I'll tell you what, that is unbelievable.
Field position has not been a problem for Michigan all day. It's been what we do with it after they get it has been the problem.
64-yard return, the longest kick return of the year for Breaston and Michigan. And now they've got great field position at the 35 of Iowa. Henne twice appears to have changed things up. And it's Mike Hart. Hart got the corner this time. He might have a lot more. Flags fly as he goes out of bounds at the 19.
Probably going to be holding on the outside.
That's the best one he's ripped off. And it's going to be negated by a penalty. 16-yard pickup, and it's called coming back.
It's one of the things that Henne has done this year. A 3rd-year junior who has started now for 3 straight years. They've asked him to do more checkoff at the line of scrimmage, get him out of bad plays and into good ones.
The spot of the foul. Repeat 1st down.
So from the spot, see where the line of scrimmage will be now. It's going to be right about back at the original line, maybe a little deeper at about the 36.
It's not number 16, Arrington, is a wide receiver on the outside. Right there, you see him on the left of the screen. He just grabs Godfrey and pulls him, and he's right out in the open where the official can see it.
Good form on that throw by the
great
flag.
Form by the
brought it right by his ear.
By the side judge.
Had the elbow high. It was good. 1st and 11 now with that spot foul, and as I mentioned, it goes back basically a yard deeper than the original line of scrimmage. So they're right about where they started. Henne this time to throw for it. Tipped. Had Arrington down the middle, and Klinkenborg, the middle linebacker, got a deep drop and did a nice job to get up and get a hand on it. Next Saturday at 3:30 Eastern on ABC, most of you are going to see Minnesota head to the Horseshoe to take on the Heisman favorite, Troy Smith, and the undefeated Buckeyes, plus other regional action. Check your local listings for the game in your area. Next Saturday on ABC. College football lives here. This is one of the biggest cities in Michigan on a Saturday when we're here. About 110,000-12,000 on hand. Mike Hart trying to break a tackle, keeps his legs driving and gets to the 31-yard line, pickup of about 5. Edmund Miles, the outside linebacker, made the stop. Let's check in with Aaron.
Well, Brad, a very busy sports day here. Of course, we got the Michigan game going on, but how about what's going on in Detroit? 30 minutes away, a little thing called the World Series. Detroit and Cardinals in Game 1 tonight. Talking to Lloyd Carr about this. He's a big Jim Leyland fan, of course, the manager of the Tigers. Good thing the game's in the afternoon. Lloyd Carr wants to watch the Tigers tonight. Lifelong fan, guys.
Yeah, well, he'll be in a good mood watching it if things go well here in the next 23 minutes. There's a throw. That went well. Breston from Henne, and that's a first down. So Steve Breston becoming part of the act. Picks up 6 yards on a 3rd and 5.
Really impressed with Iowa and how tough they are defensively. Nothing is coming easy for this Michigan offense. Last week against Indiana, Iowa just kind of went belly up. A lot of the injured players didn't play. I think that sent a message to the rest of the team. Well, hey, we can beat Indiana without them. But now they've got a chance at redemption right here in Michigan.
Mike Hart on a cutback run. He put the brakes on and got to the 20. Pickup of 4. He's running about 33 miles an hour, and all of a sudden he had the disc brakes there, and he just stopped on a dime and got about 2 more yards on him.
Well, this is one of the first plays in this game that Michigan ran to the right-hand side.
But it was a cutback.
Yeah, he cut back on his own. Usually they run to Jake Long, number 77, to left, the All-American tackle. But this time, Hart just did that mostly on his own.
At the 20. Hart again. They're just going to keep banging it and see what happens. And Iowa equal to the task again. Miguel Merrick's had a good game from that secondary.
Nice play by the strong safety, Merrick.
We talked about a ton of injuries last week. Aaron touched on some of them in the pregame, but the injuries this year to key players. Douglas is back today. So is Eubanks. Richardson's not. Tate has had an abdominal pull since way back, basically the beginning of the season. Albert Young back for the first time in 3 weeks today. Mitch King is playing today. So is Marcus Pascal. But
Calvin Davis is the only one that's out for the year, and he got hurt in the second ball game.
Merrick, who made that last stop, has 6 tackles on the day. He's doing a good job back there. At the 20. Henning. Play action slant. Arrington at the 10. Collard at the 9. It's 1st and goal, Michigan.
Boy, this play works so well for him. It's that short slant that they run, and it's about a 6-yard pattern. And Henning just puts the ball right on target.
6 catches for Arrington.
5-step drop. Run a little slant.
Career high for him.
Michigan just needs to finish off a drive. They've moved the ball. They just haven't gotten it into the end zone.
Arrington and Breston both out to the left side. On 1st and goal, it's Mike Hart. Hart straight up the middle. Touchdown! Mike Hart's 7th rushing touchdown of the year.
Everybody starts to the right. Look at the gap that's starting back here. He sees it. He's going to cut all the way back. Merrick and Pascal can't get back there.
Remember, that was a short drive courtesy of Breston's kick return. Rivas' extra point is up and good. And we finally got a touchdown. Took us to 6:36 remaining in the 3rd quarter. And it's number 20 behind that line, and the cutback run from 9 yards out. And now the 2nd-ranked Wolverines lead by a touchdown.
You're watching ESPN on ABC. ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the all-new 2007 Wrangler Unlimited, a new species from Jeep. IBM, what makes you special? And the United States Postal Service. Now the post office comes to you with free package pickup.
Shapiro Undergraduate Library. More than 400,000 books in that one and over 7.6 million books in all the University of Michigan libraries. Of course, Paul spent many, many hours and years studying the library, I'm sure.
No, I went to the library almost every day at the Citadel. I took a blanket, a pillow. So
Nice
it's the quietest place
quiet.
on campus. I loved it.
Rivas, the kick. Herb Grigsby is straddling the goal line. Oh, man. There was some popping going on down there before he got to the 21-yard line. Let's check in with Matt Weiner, New York. Matt.
All right, Brad, let's get a singular All-America Player of the Week update on Ohio State's Troy Smith. An easy and productive day against Indiana. 220 yards through the air and tied a career high with 4 touchdown passes. Simple win against the Hoosiers. You want to vote? Text VOTE to 87654 on your singular wireless phone.
All right, Matt, that's 10-3 here, Michigan.
Troy Smith looking really good, isn't he?
He sure is.
He never does anything wrong. That's what I like about him.
Albert Young, little stretch play. Albert goes maybe to the 24-yard line, about a 3-yard pickup. That front wall of Michigan led by Woodley and Biggs and those guys. And Lamar was talking with us about a little competition he has with his buddy over there at the other defensive end spot.
Me and Biggs, we've been kind of competing ever since I got here. You know, he's a year older than me, but we always talking trash all season. Who's going to have the most sacks, TFLs, the most tackles. So every week there's competition.
The most TFLs, tackles for loss, for you folks that don't know what he's talking about. I'm sure all of you do. And he had a big smile talking about that, and he slid in that he's a year older than me thing in there, just to make sure. Second down and 6. Tate throwing and a diving catch by Grigsby. That's first down, Iowa.
Brad, this is a great job by Iowa's offensive line. The blitz came. They all jammed up inside, and then Tate had time to throw this ball to Grigsby on the outside. This is because the offensive line, they picked up every single one of the blitzers, and he had time.
And Tate, Drew did a nice job also, knowing, first of all, that all these guys are blocked. Don't panic. I got my backs are picking them up. The line's picking them up. And then he kind of drifted back a little bit to the side, gave his receiver the time to run his route, and then got him the ball.
Now on first down, nice play fake. Tate all day. Deep out. Got it. Complete to Douglas, out of bounds. And now Drew Tate's got Iowa's offense cranking.
I'm impressed with this young receiver, Tate. He's, Douglas. Freshman, true freshman's caught a ton of balls today. Watch him. This is just going to be a one-man route. Got 2 guys on him.
He already has the Iowa true freshman receiving records before the game even started. And you can see they do a good job of keeping Woodley off Tate. He had all day to throw that one. Drew loaded it up and got a 24-yard pass play, the longest play from scrimmage by either team, down to the 43 of Michigan. And Tate to both sides and back to the ground. Young. And he's got about 5 more. Drew Tate and the passing chart, 14 out of 21 so far.
The one he just completed to Douglas was right there. Throwing a lot short outside, 15 yards from the line of scrimmage or less. Not throwing many balls over the middle.
Working their way down the field at the Michigan 37-yard line. They haven't been in Michigan's end of the field that many times all day, so they want to take advantage of this one, trailing by a touchdown with 4 minutes left in the third quarter.
Got a lot of guys up there like they're going to run.
Tate, quick throw, and Douglas didn't turn around that time. Incomplete. Hit him in the backside. Morgan Trent was covering.
Everybody got the audible except for Douglas. He's the only one that didn't get it, and he's the guy he was throwing the ball to.
Drew Tate's the offensive captain, and he is the undisputed leader, and it's a big part of his game.
Oh, yeah, he's.
I think actions speak louder than words, and what you do really, motivates more people than just saying stuff. Sometimes you got to get after guys, and sometimes you got to say things, but ultimately, to me, it matters what you do on the field and your performance.
See what he does on third down. And 4. Steps up. Down the middle, and he's got his man all the way to the 10-yard line, and it's Scott Chandler, the tight end. 26-yard pass play. So Tate is doing everything he has to do and doing it all right on this drive so far.
I'm sure he'd like to have this one over. Here he is here. Chandler's going to run down the center of the field. But if this ball was thrown a little bit better, look at it. If he throws it more to the left side, he has to stop and come back for it. If he would have thrown that ball up the field and more to his left, he could have gone in the end zone.
You know, that's only the second time he's thrown the ball in the middle of the field in this game.
Yes.
This is Drew Tate's drive at the 11-yard line. 1st and 10. Albert Young. Young got to the 10 and just shaded across it. Terrence Taylor was holding on for dear life when Albert lost his lid. Young out of New Jersey. 5'10", 210-pounder. And this is Iowa's deepest penetration now. Golden opportunity to try to tie the ball game up. As Ron English, the defensive coordinator of the Wolverines, looks on.
Well, if you look at the play calling for Iowa in this drive, now Michigan, they have no idea whether these guys are going to run or throw the ball. They have mixed it up perfectly.
Ken O'Keefe is the offensive coordinator. Right there, he's one of the few offensive coordinators that likes to call the plays from the sideline.
3 wideouts for Tate. Michigan loading up on those corners, and Tate says, wait a minute, let's talk about it. Timeout. They don't want to waste a golden opportunity. Will they take advantage of it and get into the end zone to tie it up? Hang around, we'll find out.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
10-3 Michigan, but Iowa trying to change that scoreboard for Kirk Ferentz. They're at the 10-yard line of the Wolverines with a 2nd down and 9. 3 wide receivers.
There's Chandler.
The big 6'7" tight end. Tate. Hurried. Throws. Complete inside the 5 to Young. It'll be 3rd down and about 4. They can get a 1st down at the 1-yard line.
I'll tell you the one thing that Iowa doesn't need, and that's a field goal.
Woodley comes to the inside. They had a little game on. That's why the quarterback had to get out of the pocket, run to his left. That's a nice job by Tate to avoid a sack by Woodley coming right up the gut and just making something out of the play.
Paul touched on it. Is this 2-down territory on the road against the number 2 team in the country? It's 3rd down here, 3rd down and 4.
The only problem is if you do kick a field goal, you got to kick the ball back to Breston.
Get single coverage on those 2 receivers at the top.
That's where he's looking. He throws across to Chandler, incomplete. Chandler covered by Prescott Burgess. And here comes the field goal unit.
I'll tell you, Chandler looked like he might be open right now, but the ball is thrown wide.
Well,
he had no chance at it.
It's because Burgess, number 6, had an angle. And that's why the quarterback had to throw away and protect against the interception.
And now Schlicker comes on. He's hit one already today of 34. This is a 22-yard field goal attempt to try to draw Iowa closer. And the kick is up and good.
Just going to say it was a tough angle, but
it was. He tucked it in there.
Good job.
So they get 3 out of it. Good-looking drive. Drew Tate, sensational. They had 2 red zone possessions so far today and have only 6 points to show for it. But as Paul said earlier, let them keep hanging around, and then you could have problems.
And both of Iowa's possessions in the second half, they've taken it down and scored a field goal.
Tonight, this is going to be a good one down at Death Valley as Clemson takes on Georgia Tech, top 2 teams in their respective divisions, the Atlantic and Coastal of the ACC. That might be a preview of the ACC championship. College football primetime on ESPN, 7:45 Eastern. All those college football games on ESPN and ESPN2 available in high definition. As the umpire and Kirk Ferentz have a little chat. The Best Buy playbook, Bob.
Well, take a look. Right here, the guy coming around from the end. That's Madison. Watch it on the tackle. He's going to run right around the tackle. Now watch what he does. Defensive ends anymore, they don't go for a sack. They want to knock the ball loose from the quarterback. And I think that's an excellent thought. When defensive linemen get back there, I'd rather knock the ball loose from the quarterback than sack him.
The last time this guy touched it as a kick returner, he took it 64 yards.
I'd put this baby on the ground. I'll tell you right now. I'd make him scoop it up.
Flicker high, pooch kick.
There he did.
Fair catch called for on the far side. The ball would have gone out of bounds, I think. In fact, the flag is thrown in As if that was caught out of bounds, it's going to be roughly the same territory. It would be at the 35 if it went out, where Will Paul caught it. And right now it's about at the 31-yard line, but they threw the flag on the near side of the field. And so it's either going to be at the 31 or the 35. Here's a call. Oh, we'll get it after the linesman talks things over with Dave Whitvote.
A sideline warning on Michigan. They're first.
All right, it was not a penalty. It was just a warning to the Wolverines. Too many guys crossing that line, and you know Lloyd will back them up. We've seen him do that before.
Lloyd
trying
usually,
to go to 8-0.
Lloyd usually does a pretty good job of talking to that head linesman over there on the side.
Yep.
we talked to him yesterday. He says, I tell those head linesmen, he says, I can only help you so much now.
I can't call the whole game.
Can't call the whole game for you. The rest of them you're going to have to do yourself.
Mike Hart, cut back run, broken tackle. Hart just keeps on driving. Wow. He's a little guy, but he didn't play like it.
Well, what he is doing is that this is stretch play. They only run like 3 or 4 plays, Michigan. I mean, but what he does, as Hart does, is he sees it, that stretch play, looking at the Iowa defense. They all overrun to the outside or overcompensate for the play, and he just cuts back in the middle. There's nobody there.
Doing much better here in the second half.
He's about 21 yards shy, 22 yards shy of 1,000 now. Here he comes the other way. And there he goes back into the middle and all the way down for 9 more yards. So Mike Hart's got it working, and Chad Henne talked with us about what number 20 means to this football team.
It's almost just like an electric spark. He comes in. It's just fun to see him. He's always smiling and always wants to get out there and do his best, and that's what we admire about him. And we just love the way he plays the game.
He's doing his best right now. Got 9 more yards. 2nd and 1. He'll probably touch it again. There he goes. Mike Hart. First down. Down inside the 45, close to the 43 as we're under a minute in the third quarter. And now Michigan's ground game finally behind Big Jake and company. Look at Jake. Jake said, you little rascal, you just get on my butt and I'll road grader somebody for you.
You know, the offensive linemen said they love blocking for this guy because he sees so well, and he doesn't get too anxious. He doesn't run up their backs. He lets them get on their man, get their blocks, and then he reacts to where they are.
There was the cutback. Now he's going to get a breather, and Kevin Grady will take his spot. Here's a throw out to Preston. First down, and he almost broke it. Good job by Charles Godfrey, the junior out of Baytown, Texas, same hometown as Drew Tate. On the corner, he made the stop, or Preston might have been gone.
It's got to be frustrating for Preston not to
score a touchdown.
Have a touchdown this year. I mean, he's caught in his career. He's got 126 catches. He had 28 coming into today. Now, in his career, he's got 8 touchdowns, passes, but none this year.
Second down at 6. Henne throws. Preston notices Arrington. He's having quite a day. Just continues to add to his career high list. I think that's his 7th grab. A pickup of 10. And the third quarter comes to a close. So Michigan, the number 2 team in the country, playing tough defense. Iowa hanging with them. Mike Hart running hard. Michigan with the lead. 10-6 at the end of 3. This thing's, if they would have done that with their instruments instead of their voices, our heads would be spinning for a week. We enter the fourth quarter, 10-6 Michigan.
I miss the bands. You know, I miss seeing the bands. You know, we see them here, but we don't have a lot of time to show them at halftime. But we try to show them during the ball game.
They have fun in the pregame too.
Yeah.
First down and whistles and a penalty. Might be the clock again. It looked like Dave Whitvote was looking back up at the scoreboard as if something was wrong.
Well, they hadn't even snapped the ball, and 2 seconds went off the clock.
25-second clock did not run. There will be no play. It will be first down.
Try it again. First down at the 28-yard line. Michigan by 4. And Mike Hart is the guy that's starting to chew up yardage. He got a break and a breather with Grady carrying the final play of the third quarter. Actually, it was a pass play, but Grady was in there. And now Hart back in at tailback. They're going to keep working the little guy. Mike cuts back to the middle, and he gets to about the 25-yard line. So a pickup of 4 or 5 more. Mike Hart, fellas, had 61 yards in the third quarter. We were talking about the out-of-whack stat at halftime. He had only had 27 yards. Well, he's warming up.
Well, you know, running backs, they like to carry it. And the more and more they carry it, the better they get. And I don't know why that is, but they say they wear down the other team on defense. That's one guy wearing down 11.
Yeah, but he gets in a rhythm. And quit calling him the little guy. He doesn't like that, you know. He's big on this team.
Here he comes again. And he's working it down to about the 21. He'll bring up a third down and a long 2, almost 3. As the clock and the scoreboard in Michigan's favor, but a lot of football left. And Drew Tate will still have something to say about it before all is said and done. And today, 95 yards has taken Mike Hart over the magical 1,000-yard mark, and he's still got a lot of games left.
Looks like he's looking around to see if Grady or Minor or one of the other backs might be coming in. But it doesn't look like he's breathing hard, and the ball ain't heavy. It doesn't belong to the Union.
When you were that age, did you ever get tired? I don't think so.
3rd and 3. Cut back by Hart. And they're not going to get to the first down, though. Marcus Pascal came up, the senior safety from the secondary, and made the stop. Some of the tough yards that Mike's gotten today, averaging about 129 a ball game. Iowa's made it very tough on him. But he's made it tough with some of the hits. Remember, he came in having touched the ball 606 consecutive times, either as a receiver or a rusher, without fumbling, and he has not fumbled again today.
Without a lost fumble.
Without a lost fumble.
Yeah.
Garrett Rivas is going to try a 37-yard field goal. You can hear a pin drop in here right now. Rivas field goal on the way, and it is good. So that makes it a 7-point game. Mike Hart did most of the damage on that drive. 13-6. And Lamar Woodley and his defensive cohorts are going to have to try to stop number 5 to preserve the win here at home.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Well, the Hawkeyes are still dancing with the stars. Michigan ranked number 2, but they're only ahead by a touchdown. A lot of time left. That's Herb Grigsby. He's waiting on the kick from Rivas. He'll take it about 2 yards deep and take a knee. So Iowa, really all day long, they've had kind of tough field position with which to work, and they're going to have to start from the 20-yard line again. Time permitting. Reminder to stay tuned for the Thrifty Car Rental post-game report featuring scores and highlights with John and Craig and Doug in New York. Drew Tate, if you're just joining us, in the first half trying to avoid the Michigan pass rush, trying to scramble out of the pocket, put his left hand down to brace himself, and had to call a timeout and go to the sideline to tape up his thumb. So he's been playing with what we assume is at least a sprained thumb on his left non-throwing hand all day, basically.
He's basically been banged up all year, though.
Yep. Back to throw. Here comes the heat. Down he goes. Ball is out. And let's see who's got it. 4th sack of the day. And it was Woodley coming around the corner. And he's saying to Biggs right now, I got it, Biggs.
Well,
I beat you there.
Excuse me, but this is what Greasy was talking about. These guys don't, when they go for the sack, they go for the ball. Watch this. He's going to move his arm down and just go for that football. Knock it out. I got the sack. I'll knock it out and let my guys go get it. They didn't get it.
That was an excellent play by Woodley, and something that Drew Tate couldn't see or feel.
Woodley on virtually every defensive watch list for postseason awards. That's his 8th sack of the year. Tate now on the roll and on the run and run out of bounds. And run out of bounds way back at the 11-yard line. Let's check in with Aaron.
Well, Brad, what has been the difference for Lamar Woodley this season? His defensive coordinator, Ron English, telling us yesterday he suffered an injury last season, his first one ever in his career. And before that, he really took what Woodley called a laid-back, chill approach to practice. Not the case this season, guys. He's actually leading the charge and leading this defense in practice and on the field.
There's his numbers coming in. He's added to all of them today so far. Had a sack a moment ago. Actually, Sean Crable got credit for what that 4-yard loss was another sack, and he's got 2 or 3 today. 3rd and 19. Tate in trouble. Got away. Throws and completes it. Now, wait a minute. Ball comes out. Dominique Douglas, who was banged up last week, and he comes down hard, and he's shaken up again. Douglas, who's had a big day, especially early, catching the football. Look at it. Look at his quarterback. He's up there rubbing his helmet as if that's going to help.
Yeah. Leon Hall is the defensive back that was there, number 29.
Woodley again is going to put the heat on, and almost had him.
Tate does a nice job to avoid the sack.
Douglas now trying to jog off.
He twisted his knee and ankle.
That looks like a shin, maybe.
A high ankle sprain. He twisted his foot underneath the tackler.
Got off under his own power, and now Fenstermaker's got a tough spot and a tough guy on the other end waiting near midfield. Preston already has a 64-yard kick return today. And Iowa's taken, I believe, a timeout. They have. Timeout with 11:40 to go. A big punt coming up. Michigan in front by 7.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by the Nissan Titan, proud presenter of the 2006 Heisman. Singular, raising the bar. And Aflac. Ask about it at work.
That is University of Michigan Alumni Association. More than 420,000 living Michigan alums. One of the largest living alumni bodies in the world. The coach's challenge is why we had a timeout, as Kirk Ferentz was asking for a review on whether or not Douglas caught that ball.
The play stands as ruled on the field. The pass is incomplete.
Yeah,
coming into the day, only about 20% of all the calls that have been challenged have been overturned.
The coach's challenges have been overturned, 20%.
I know we repeat it every week, but every one of these things are reviewed.
Fenstermaker will have to punt from his own goal line. I understand Notre Dame has come from behind to win today. Here it's number 2 Michigan trying to hang on against Iowa, and only up by a touchdown here in the 4th quarter. Kick off the side of his foot. I don't think Breaston's going to be able to handle this. He's going to have to get out of the way. It takes a great bounce, though, for Iowa, and goes all the way down to the 41-yard line. So a 49-yard punt and no return. He kept it out of the hands of Steve Breaston. 110,923 for the 197th straight time. Over 100,000 people watching at Michigan Stadium as they are hosting the Iowa Hawkeyes in this Big Ten battle. Key play in the ball game. Mike Hart grinding away in the second half. Had 61 yards in the 3rd quarter alone, including that 9-yard touchdown. That's our only touchdown of the day. And it's Michigan right now, 13-6, with the lead with the clock running at 11:20 remaining in the ball game. And Mike Hart gets the call again for a yard, maybe 2. Brian Madison, who's had a heck of a game defensively, made the stop. Let's check in. Matt's got an update in New York.
Brad, just over in South Bend, and a result that should help Michigan in the BCS formula. Brady Quinn of the Irish trailing late, but he hits Jeff Samardzija, 22nd career touchdown pass, ties Derek May's school record. They needed just 35 seconds to go 80 yards. Bama still leads at Tennessee 13-6.
Now, so Brady Quinn's Heisman hopes still alive. Troy Smith had 4 touchdown passes today for Ohio State. Chad Henne comes up firing. Adrian Arrington, who's been his favorite target today, pick up out to the 49-yard line. Jake Long, the All-American candidate, in the pits. Let's take a look at it.
Jake's the left tackle, number 7's top of your screen. Pass protecting. Right here at the top. Again at the top of the screen, number 77.
A little bit more lean Jake Long than a year ago. Made him even more dangerous. Still 313 pounds.
Yeah, lost about 20 pounds.
3rd down. Henne's in trouble. Throws, dangerous pass, broken up. Arrington, the intended receiver. Marcus Wilson, the safety, made a nice play to break it up.
Well, Norm Parker, the defensive coordinator for Iowa, calls Jake Long the road grader.
Yeah.
He doesn't miss many blocks.
There's Norm. Exactly 10 minutes remaining in the ball game with now a Michigan punt upcoming. So Iowa's going to get their hands on it.
Again, Michigan had great field position and didn't do much with it.
Dominique Douglas is okay, even though that was kind of a nasty look at that reception he tried to make a moment ago, and his lower left leg ended up in a bad spot, but he's back out there. And he's going to field the punt. And he went to the turf to do it. And he probably saved about 5 yards there.
I agree. It's a smart play. He avoided taking over the ball inside the 5-yard line.
Iowa's down a touchdown. Can they come back and tie it? Hang around.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Aaron Andrews, Michigan Stadium, where Lamar Woodley and company wanting to tee off on Drew Tate, who has to work from inside his own 10-yard line again. 9:38 in the clock, winding down. Last year this game went to overtime, and Michigan won it 23-20. There's a pass, sideline, and incomplete. Dominique Douglas covered by Morgan Trent on the corner.
Well, if you're going to throw the football, first down is a great down to throw on, primarily because you're not going to get that hard pass rush from those 4 defensive linemen.
Jar now.
Iowa's had 10 possessions, and 6 of them have started inside their own 20-yard line.
That's not good. Second down at 10. Douglas in motion as Tate drops to his own goal line. Throws. Albert Young trying to break a tackle. There's nowhere to hide from the Michigan defense. And the play was made by Alan Branch, number 80. He won't get credit for the tackle, but big number 80 is the guy that blew that one up.
Well, you talk about a guy reading a screen. Alan Branch, number 80, read this thing perfectly. You're right. He didn't make the tackle, but he caused everything else.
Where's Branch? Right here.
Big number 80.
Take a look at Branch. Watch as he lets the other guys rush the passer, and he's the spy. Now he slides out there and gets into the screen. That's what you call a spy. Let the other 3 guys rush the passer. I'll take care of the screens and draws.
Third down at 10. Now they're really going to pin their ears back, and they might have a blitz coming on top of it. They do. Tate throws. Incomplete. Nowhere near Dominique Douglas, the intended receiver. 3 and out for Iowa. Time permitting, hang around for the Thrifty Car Rental postgame report featuring scores and highlights from John and Craig and Doug in New York. Oh boy, and Kirk Ferentz is on fire over there.
Well, that was the 5th time that when I said stay out of 3rd and long, they were 3rd and 10 or more. That was the 5th time in this ball game.
I think what he's upset about, Brad, is that he thought that the defensive man had his hands on his receiver when the ball was in the air.
Steve Breaston takes a fair catch on the punt at the 43-yard line. So the battle of field position being won by Michigan, and they're winning on the scoreboard by a touchdown as well. Can they stay undefeated and be 8-0 coming into the day? West Virginia, a winner over UConn, is undefeated. Louisville, Rutgers is playing right now. They are leading in their ball game over Pittsburgh. Last time I saw 3-0. Ohio State won. They're 8-0. Michigan, of course, at 7-0. USC's idle, and Boise State out there in the WAC 7-0.
So you got 7 undefeateds. 3 of them are in the Big East, and Kirk is not happy.
Nope, he's not at all.
He is one of the best coaches, not in the Big Ten, but in all of college football.
Right about that. Chad Henne back to throw on first down. Greg Matthews, the freshman receivers, got it down to the 40-yard line. Let's check in with Aaron.
Well, Brad just revealed this Thursday where the preliminary renovation or designs of what the renovations are going to be here at Michigan Stadium. You can check out there's new large arch cutouts with their constructed of brick. Kind of looks a little bit like FSU's Doak Campbell Stadium. This is supposed to get completed by 2010. They're going to renovate, which I know you guys like to hear, the press box, a new press box on the west side, new concourse. They're going to hope to keep the capacity about the same, Brad.
Well, we like the fact that they're renovating the press box. We don't necessarily dig where they're going to put us. But I guess they didn't ask my opinion. 4-yard pickup by Mike Hart. And Mike talking with Merrick, who's had a lot of tackles today, and they're jawing a little bit.
You know, one of the things about the stadium, and you played here, Bob, that there's 110,000 people here, but you said the noise doesn't affect the visiting team as much.
No, it's the big house, but it really is not the big help for Michigan because there's no upper deck, and the noise just kind of goes up and out instead of onto the field. So the opposing team really is not intimidated and have a problem hearing their signals.
There's a huge third down for both teams. Ball is out. Iowa's got it unless they blow that play dead. That's going to be a fumble, and that's the first one in forever for Michigan and Mike Hart. And he's saying he was down. You can tell he's coming over to tell the coach, Coach, I was down. The ball came out late. Let's take a look.
Number 20 again is Hart.
He's right, I think. I think his knee's down.
He is down. He is definitely down.
Mike knows fumbles because he never fumbles. And this is going to be interesting. This should be reviewed.
Yeah.
And it is. And I think
I say that, but
I want to see a better picture of that thing because I mean, he was blocked. Here it comes from this side of the field.
Yeah, you're not going to see anything there.
No, I think the first one was the better shot that we probably had.
It's better than that
one. His knee is down for sure at that point.
Where is it?
There's his knee down. He's still got a
Yeah.
hand on both hands actually before it came out. And I think this is not going to be a fumble. Here's another look. Watch Mike's left knee right there. And he actually still has both hands on the ball, I think, at that point before it ever comes out.
Yeah.
You know, it was interesting. He told Desmond Howard on game day a couple of weeks ago that he's got 5 pressure points to not fumble. Fingertips, palm, forearm, bicep, and then tucks it into his shoulder. So he says, I always think of 5 pressure points.
Yeah.
And that time, down in the bottom of the pile, it got kicked, but I think his knee was already down.
And if this goes the way we think it might go,
this guy's going to explode.
Not going to be happy. He probably already has heard from his coaches up here in the press box what the reviews look like.
Now, see, if Hart was a little taller, we could have seen that better.
Well, he hides behind those guys that are 6'7" and 320 pounds.
Maybe if he was using a smaller ball.
Yeah. Look at this.
Well, you think Kirk Ferentz has been on the officials, or Lloyd Carr works him a little bit too?
You know, they like to work the officials, but it really doesn't do a whole lot of good because this decision is going to be made upstairs anyway. Not by anybody down on the field. I can tell you that. Oh, excuse me?
That's the head linesman. He has the unfortunate job of being on the sideline next to the head coach.
And he's got to stay there all game.
Yeah,
they don't switch sides.
They don't switch sides, yeah.
So you get 3.5 hours of coach in your ear.
Did I see plugs in his ears?
I'm reminded of which Coach Shula that I was with for a long time.
We'll talk about that in a second. Next Saturday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. Most of you are going to see Minnesota take on the Buckeyes of Ohio State, plus other regional action. Check the local listings for the game in your area. What Shoes have to say?
Coach Shula was watching Penn State play one afternoon, and that was the day that Joe Paterno, at the end of the game, chased one of the officials all the way down to the end zone and into the tunnel
right.
at Penn State Stadium. And Shoes said, boy, he's my hero now to run that far, chasing that guy, waving his finger on him like that.
And he was about 75 at the time, and he can still do it.
Yeah.
So we await the word from up above. It's going to be a crucial call here, obviously, for Iowa's hopes to get the football, for Michigan's to not lose the ball, and we're going to get the call right now from Dave Whitvo.
What Ferentz mad about is that there are Michigan coaches down here by this, where the viewing station is, and that's what he's upset about.
After review, there's indisputable video evidence that the runner's knee was down before the ball was fumbled. It will be 4th down and 1 on the 33-yard line.
Well, for those of you that can read lips, you know what Kirk thought of the call.
What do you do now? Do you go, it's 4th down, and you got a long one.
Here comes Chad Henne, and here comes the fullback, or the extra tight end, I should say.
Let's just say that, you know, there's been a lot of talk about the instant replay and all that other stuff. And I don't want to put instant replay ahead of the game. I think too many people are talking about it, But in this instance, it did correct the wrong call.
So now Chad Henne still looking to the sideline. The line of scrimmage is a 33 and about a foot, and they've got about 2 feet to go. Today, only 262 yards of offense. It has been tough sledding for both these teams today because those defenses have played remarkable football on both sides.
Well, the first half was defense. Did you know that there was 12 possessions by both teams in the first half, and only one of those possessions was a score? In the second half, 3 of the first 4 possessions, there were scores.
So we got things rolling in the third quarter.
Yeah, we did.
Now the referee's going to get to chat with Kirk. And they're trying to get the chains in the right spot, too, I believe, which has kind of slowed things down. The fans are getting restless, all 111,000 of them.
There is a guy fighting for his football team.
Well, he has done a great job at Iowa. He has done more with less than any coach in the Big Ten and probably throughout the United States in college football.
He's 2-3 against Michigan. 2-time Big Ten Coach of the Year in 02 and 04. 4 straight January Bowls Iowa's been to under Kirk. And not a lot of teams can say that. USC and Georgia and Florida State are about the only ones that can make that claim right now.
One of the things that's taken so long is where do you now mark the ball? Because where was the ball when his knee touched down?
That's going to be the next look.
This is what they have to do. They determined that it was not a fumble. Now you got to go back and figure out where the ball should be.
They maybe should have thought of that the first time they were over there before they ran out there. That's what I would have guessed. Tomorrow, join ABC in Orlando for complete final round coverage of the Funai Classic at the Walt Disney World Resort tomorrow, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on ABC. So again, both coaches being told what the holdup is here with 6:55 remaining in the fourth quarter and a 1-touchdown game. Michigan, number 2 in the country, leading Iowa 13-6. And after a review, it was indisputable video evidence that Mike Hart's knee was down, and now they're trying to respot the football in the right place. So we've got time. We've probably got time for 2 Pacific Life game summaries at the rate we're going here. Drew Tate in the first half trying to brace himself from a sack, and he hurt his left thumb, taped it up. He's been sacked 4 times. Chad Henne sacked 3 times. We're telling you how tough both defenses have been today. Mike Hart, though, over 100 yards again, and when he goes over 100 yards, they're 15-1 career starts for Mike Hart, trying to make it 16-1 today, and he's gone over 1,000 yards as well on the season on the afternoon. And so Dave Whitvote still talking to the guys upstairs, Jim Augustine and company, about where I think is the reason is they're trying to spot the football.
Where did his knee hit, and so where should we place the ball?
Yeah, where was the ball when his knee hit? And you know, the ball came out way down the field, well, about 3 or 4 yards down the field.
As both coaches pace the sideline.
Here's the runner right here. Right here.
I'd say it's at the 34-yard line would be my guess.
But it doesn't matter where his knee went down. It's where the ball is when his knee goes down. If the ball is out in front of him, then it's another yard. That's where they're having a problem.
So it's it wasn't a fumble, so where his knee went down, I assume, is where they're going to spot it at the 34.
After resetting the chains, the first down marker indicates first down at the 33. The ball is down at the 33 and therefore results in a first down.
Whoa. Well, they give him the extra yard. And I don't think that's going to be a happy coach over there now.
Well, again, that's what we're talking about. See, his knee goes down, but wherever his knee goes down, it's where the ball is when his knee goes down. It's like on the goal line. If the ball is over the goal line and his knee hits as the ball's over the goal line at the 1, it's a touchdown.
That's right.
Same thing applies in the field.
You're right.
At the 33, it's first down.
Finally.
And the clock is running. And darkness is coming over Michigan Stadium. They're trying to stay undefeated at 8-0. Mike Hart again puts the ball in his left hand and goes down. Actually lost maybe a half yard. Alex Canales made the stop. The next time they snap it, it'll be under 6 minutes, and Michigan with a 1-touchdown lead. They get a couple of first downs here and keep moving it down the field, and it's going to be awfully hard for Iowa to find the wherewithal to get back in the ball game. Mike Hart, that out of whack stat we had for you at halftime, it's not so wacky anymore. 77 yards in the second half. Second down at 10 for Henning. Throws wide side, got his man. Steve Breaston said, oh, I didn't want to go out of bounds, but I couldn't stop. Pickup of 11, another Michigan first down. We get another update from Matt in New York.
All right, Brad, barring something miraculous from Washington in the game's final 6 seconds, looks like Cal will win in 7 straight. Marshawn Lynch, nifty footwork on the 17-yard touchdown run. 2-pointer good. The margin is 7 there. BC leads at Florida State 24-17, but the Seminoles have the ball inside BC territory. Still a 4-point game at Tennessee.
And Alabama leading by 4 in Knoxville. 7 catches today for Steve Breaston. That's a career high. And Mike Hart now goes for the tough running and trying to chew up clock. Bradley Fletcher made the stop.
That was a nice tackle by Fletcher.
It's been a busy secondary back there making stops. Fletcher and Godfrey and Merrick. These guys have been busy.
I think Fletcher's back there. Now look at the hole, and look what that's what he sees when he cuts back over there. Hart sees that gaping hole, and all he had to do was break one tackle for the big touchdown.
Fletcher is another Youngstown, Ohio boy there, Paulie.
There are a lot of them.
Here's Hart. And Hart sticks it up in the middle. And he's got another first down at about the 11-yard line. Fletcher made the stop, but it's another first down Michigan, and the clock's going to wind its way under 5 minutes to play. Again, Ohio State is 8-0. Michigan trying to go to 8-0. They would be 5-0 in the Big Ten. Wisconsin, the big win. They're 7-1 under Coach Bielema his first year. Penn State beat Illinois today. It was Michigan State coming from way back to beat Northwestern. That's how it looks right now.
Wisconsin, nice job. Bielema doing a good job. First-year coach.
At the 11, it's 1st and 10. Hart trying to cut back, and he's bulldogged down at the 10 by Brian Madison, who's had a heck of a game today at defensive end for the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Well, this entire Iowa defense has done a terrific job today. They really have. You know, it just like it all looked like Michigan could never get their offense on track. It moved it a little bit. They had great field position in this ball game, but they never really took advantage of it.
Now we're down to almost 4 minutes. Henny taking his time. Chad lines him up. He'll use all that clock he can use. And he'll give it to 20. And Mike cuts back inside the 5. Touchdown, Michigan. Mike Hart, second of the day. Well, that might ice it. He might have been out of whack at halftime, but he's not out of whack anymore.
Well, the number of times he cut back in this ball game. And watch everybody on the white shirts overrun the middle of the field. And once they do that, there's one block back to the inside, and he's in for the touchdown. That's beautiful.
His 8th rushing touchdown of the year. Revis extra point is up and good. And now you hear "Hail to the Victors" in the background as Michigan can smell their 8th straight win to stay with Ohio State and stay in the number 2 spot in the country and impress more and more voters probably in the BCS. Here's another look. The great cutback to get around Madison. Then it's 10 yards to pay dirt. Second of the day for Mike Hart. Michigan 20-6.
Tiki Barber had a huge day in Atlanta. He's the NFL's leading rusher. Eli Manning and company are 3-2. The player made the big plays on Sunday. 3 TOTDs, and Dallas is at 3-2 as well. The Giants, the Cowboys, 8:30 Eastern on ESPN's Monday Night Football.
You're watching ESPN on ABC.
Mike Hart caps off a 43-yard drive in 9 plays. A 10-yard touchdown, his second of the day. And now Michigan sitting pretty, 20-6 over Iowa with just under 4 minutes left in the ballgame. Rivas to kick. Herb Grigsby thought about it and then takes a knee. 3 times now, touchbacks out there. Well, let's take a look back at your game breakdowns, fellas.
Well, we said for Iowa this was a chance for redemption, and for most of the game they played really well. Their defense certainly held them out. Offense just couldn't crack it, and beware of the trap. Beware of the trap for Michigan, and I think they avoided it.
Well, and I should stay out of 3rd and long for Iowa, and they couldn't get out of 3rd and long.
Right.
And Michigan never really got that far ahead to shut anything down.
But Mike Hart started to shut it down with that last drive. And now Drew Tate is running out of chances and running out of the pocket. And Drew's going up the left side and getting all he can, which was a good gain. And he's got a first down as he goes out of bounds at about the 40-yard line. Let's check it with Matt in New York.
Brad, a couple of minutes ago, I told you Washington needed a miracle at Cal. You be the judge. Final play of regulation. Carl Bunnell heaves it through a couple of Cal Bear paws and into the hands of Marlon Wood. Touchdown to tie it overtime in Berkeley.
Wow. Marlon Wood, Richard Wood's son, old All-American linebacker. And his kid comes up with a huge play. Iowa, that's their first down since there were 4 minutes left in the 3rd quarter. Here's the stretch and a handoff. Maybe surprising a few people, but not Michigan's defense. As he goes down at the line. Well, there's, what, 670 hours before they head to Columbus? I think it's something like that.
Did they realize that Tressel doesn't play?
Makes for a great sign, though.
It does. A great sign.
Get you on TV.
That's right. Iowa today only 2 field goals so far. Now to 3 minutes. Taking a long time getting the ball snapped here. Tate in a shotgun throwing and completing it. Nice throw, Scott Chandler. Chandler's 3rd catch today, but it hasn't done a lot of damage. That one picks up 19. Scott Chandler, I don't want to say little brother to Nate Chandler, who used to be the quarterback at Iowa. And Nate was about 6'6", Scott 6'7".
That could be the tallest thrower to catcher when those two were at Iowa. Scott was the freshman, and his brother was the upperclassman.
At the 40. They've got it in Michigan territory. With 3 minutes left in the game. Tate steps up, fires. Tipped and in and out of the hands of Herb Grigsby. And Iowa's down to 1 timeout. Michigan, with 2:56 left, has a 14-point lead.
Drew Tate has had an outstanding career at Iowa. Unfortunately, this year he doesn't have the receivers that he's had in the past.
Former freshman of the year, came in 21-9 as a starter. Second down and 10 at the Michigan 40. Tate from the gun, looking left, going left, completes it to Chandler again. Chandler goes out of bounds, another first down at the Michigan 29. Pickup of 11. They need 2 touchdowns in 2 minutes and change, and of course they need 1 first and then an onside kick or some kind of miracle like Washington got against Cal.
All right, it can happen.
You know, I hate the prevent defense. I think the only thing that prevent defense does in a close game is prevent you from winning.
Well, Iowa's moving it down the field at the 29 of Michigan. For those of you that were watching Boston College win over Florida State, welcome to Ann Arbor. Brad Nessler, Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Aaron Andrews. Number 2 Michigan, a 2-touchdown lead. Iowa on the drive here late in the 4th quarter. Drew Tate throws, completes it. Dominique Douglas looks like he's got a first down as he's diving for the first down marker at about the 19-yard line. Key plays in this ball game, which has been a defensive battle. A 9-yard touchdown by Mark Hart, his 7th of the year, and then a couple of minutes ago, a 10-yarder capping off a short 43-yard drive. Hart over 100 yards on the day, over 1,000 for the season. And I mentioned when he goes for 100 yards in his career, they've only lost one ball game. They would be 16-1 when he goes over the century mark if this lead holds right now. 20-6, 2:43 left. First down, Iowa at the Michigan 19-yard line. Tate, pressure from the backside. They almost got to him, and now they do. And Lamar Woodley's got his 2nd sack of the day. But the first pressure came from Tim Jamison around the backside and sort of corralled him back in the middle of things.
All right, keep your composure. Get your offense back. You got a sack. Everybody's got to get back. Get settled. Get them the next play. They still have one timeout left.
Approaching 2 minutes. The quick slip screen. Brodell. And Brodell got to about the 16-yard line, and the clock will wind its way under 2 minutes. Trying to get the Hawkeyes lined up. Kirk Ferentz has been steaming in the second half about some key calls that have gone against his team, including one on a review of what would have been a Mike Hart fumble, but his knee was down, and that led to that 10-yard touchdown we showed you earlier. Third down. Tate fires incomplete. Brodell got a hand on it, had a half step in front of his man Leon Hall, but he couldn't hold it. And here's your ball game. Fourth down coming up.
Well, as I said, Drew Tate had some great receivers during his time at Iowa. Calvin Davis was one of the starters coming back from last year, hurt himself in the second game of the year, is out for the year. This offense has had a lot of injuries. Tate was out for one. Offensive line, a lot of injuries. 4th down and 6. This might be the ball game. Scott Chandler is Drew Tate's favorite target and the biggest one. He's in a slot left. Tate almost fell down. Now throws, and it is almost intercepted by Engelman. That would have capped it. Either way, Michigan takes over the football.
You know, I just love that you can talk. This team is a product of that man right there, their head coach. You talk about a team with no quit, and they stayed in this ball game for a long time with a lot of guys that are out of position, a lot of injured players, as Bob was talking about. I just admire what he has done with this football team.
They're going to drop to 5-3 and 2-3 in the conference, and most people thought that they would be a threat in this conference, and maybe more of a threat going into the season, a lot of people thought, than Michigan. Michigan was almost under the radar. Started the season ranked number 14. All of a sudden, here they are. They're about ready to be 8-0. They're going to be number 2 in the country again next week. The only team above them is Ohio State, their hated rival that they play on November 18th.
So much you remind us of the 1997 season, when the season before they lost 4 ball games.
8-4, and then they came back in Brian and
had a lot
company.
of injuries. Had a lot of injuries the year before.
Took them to the national championship and a win in the Rose Bowl. So a lot of similarities, and Lloyd Carr talked with us in his office about those similarities the other day. Today's Chevrolet players of the game. Brian Madison had a great game, a couple of sacks, a forced fumble from his defensive end spot for the Hawkeyes. And Mike Hart, he was the guy that Michigan had to have in the second half. He had only 27 yards at halftime. He has almost 100 in the second half, including 2 key touchdowns. In recognition of those guys' efforts, Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each university's general scholarship fund. 20-6, going to be a disappointing trip back home for the Hawkeyes after the loss last week to Indiana, 31-28. Their defense played so well today that they had their chances. They just couldn't take advantage of them. Ended up with a couple of field goals, and that's all they have to show for things right now.
Well, this group was banged up coming in, and I hate to keep harping on it, but just like Michigan last year when they lost, when their record was 7-5, and everybody was saying, oh, Lloyd Carr's on the hot seat. Nobody brought up none of the team members, and they just rededicated themselves, lost some weight, got a new offensive system. Coordinators came in new, lost some, got faster on defense. Everybody got well that was hurt last year. for the most part, they have stayed healthy. The two guys that are hurt on offense, the tight end Ecker and Manningham, will be back in a couple of weeks in plenty of time to play against Ohio State.
Well, Iowa has only won here in Ann Arbor 5 times this century, and they're not going to win it today either. And there's the comparisons we were talking about. They're about to be 8-0. The question mark, can they go to that 12-0? They just want to be 11-0 going to Ohio State, or at least their fans. I give these guys credit for keeping focus on Iowa and the task at hand instead of thinking too far ahead.
I think the coaches are doing a good job of convincing them that each one of these teams they play can beat them.
But right now, the road ahead looks a lot smoother for Lloyd Carr and the Wolverines, because the teams they have on their schedule before Ohio State all have 2 wins, and that's it. So Michigan goes to 8-0 as the final seconds tick off in Ann Arbor, 20-6. Let's check in with Aaron down on the field.
All right, well, thanks so much. 2 big touchdowns for you, obviously, in the second half. Michael, what was the difference in the second versus the first when you got it going?
We just started getting off the ball. You know, the defense line was getting a lot of penetration in the first half, and our O-line came out in the second half and did a great job of stopping them from getting penetration, so I can make my cuts and then make the secondary move.
Over 100 yards today for you, but over 1,000 yards on the season with the injury you went through last year. What does this mean to you today?
It's just fun, you know what I mean? It's exciting. It's great to be out here, you know, just winning. We're just trying to keep winning every game at a time, one game at a time.
Michael Hart, thank you.
Thank you.
It's going to wrap it up. Nice job, young man. Another great game, over 1,000 yards on the season. Once again, our final score from Ann Arbor, 20-6. Michigan wins it. Don't forget, coming up tomorrow, final round coverage of the Funai Classic at the Walt Disney World Resort at 3 Eastern, noon Pacific, right here on ABC. For Bob Greasy, Paul McGuire, Aaron Andrews, Brad Nessler, saying so long from Michigan Stadium. 20-6 is the final score. Now here.